Okay, good afternoon, folks, and welcome to Smudcast number 507. What the hell is the Smurfette principle? That's kind of like what we were talking about just before the stream. We were like, yeah, what the heck is this thing? I had to go look it up. And it seems to be invented by some kind of writer on some kind of magazine, which just refers to having a group of people in a story, which are mostly men, the primary characters, and you'll have a female character as a side character or one of the mains as well. And that's about it. There's nothing inherently good or bad. It's just sort of a categorization of the sexes on your cast or on your story. So that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. And this video, let me just check it, came out a year ago in April from Saberspark. And as you can see, there's a nice, wonderful little animated avatar she's got going. And it's got over 1 million views. So that's a pretty popular video. So good for her. And yeah, looks like a good video. It has over 71,000 upvotes, 1.5 thousand downvotes. I don't know why there's so many downvotes, but I'm just assuming.
We're about to find out.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't sound like a bad trope to talk about or a pattern. I'm just curious where it's going to go because you could take this one way or the other. And immediately when I thought of this, I was like, well, what about the opposite of that? And the first thing that popped in my mind was Sailor Moon. Sailor Moon is a story about a whole bunch of girls, and there's like one, maybe 2 or 3 guys in there, but mostly it's Tuxedo Mask. And he's just like one of the girls, but no one knows who he is, but he pretty much transforms just like them and tries to help them out. So there's nothing inherently wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with the girls being the main characters or having a magical girl anime or I was trying to compare it to like Gears of War. There's mostly guys there. I think Gears of War 3 has a few women in it, which do the same thing as the guys. So yeah, not seeing a problem. Not a big deal. All right, 23 minutes. Let's get going with Saberspark.
This video is brought to you by Warby Parker. Really? You're making me read a sponsorship thingy?
Sabi, come on. I don't make up the rules.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
Okay, that was good. That was great. Usually these people drone on and on about their sponsors, so that was great. I appreciate that.
Hey, I think I had a problem with the video right now because I didn't hear any sound.
You couldn't hear anything?
Might have been because I was trying to listen to it on Safari, but...
Oh, all right.
It works with Chrome and Firefox.
Joy.
Yeah.
Phone problems already.
Yeah. Okay, let's try press play one more time, see if you hear it.
Movies and shows. It's not uncommon for a cast
You got it? All right.
of characters to be all guys, except for a lone girl. Like, it is truly uncanny how often this happens in the media. I actually mentioned this in passing to a friend of mine, and she said, oh, you mean the Smurfette principle? And I was like, the what? It's when a movie or show has a bunch of dudes.
Oddly enough, if you actually, this is another thing we talked about, it doesn't apply to the Smurfs.
Because the Smurfs were like asexual things, I believe, or just spores or something.
I don't know, but apparently in the tropes, it says there are multiple female Smurfs in the 1980s. So
yeah, but weren't they like created in some way or another? Not like natural Smurfs, I believe.
Oh, geez, I have no idea. I can't remember. Yeah.
A part of me wants to look this up real quick.
Yeah, the Smurfs were an odd little kids show, and I mostly remember Gargamel and Azrael, his cat, and that's about it. It's the actual Smurfs and how they came about, I have no clue. Anyway.
Dude. Like one woman who usually exists as a supporting or romantic role for the guys. You know, like Smurfette. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. After that, I went on a crusade to see exactly how many movies and shows fall under this category. And folks, it is a lot.
Not according to TV tropes, actually. If you look at the tropes, the page is it has a lot of anime, but anime has a lot of tropes to begin with anyway. But this is a pretty small page compared to other tropes I've seen.
I actually want to point out something because I find it a little bit ironic that the Smurfette principle applies to Smurf somewhat, but at the same time, the Smurfette is consistently in the story no matter what. Like, she's like one of the most popular Smurfs. She's like guaranteed to be one of the main cast.
Right.
Take a look at all the other like Smurfs, like Vanity Smurf, Dopey Smurf, or whatever. They're like minor characters at best, despite the fact that they were just as well, I think the Smurfs were kind of like on equal ground in the original cartoon or something.
Okay. I'm thinking.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm thinking of because I read a lot of isekai, and there's a lot of harem anime within isekai, and that's kind of natural. It's just a fantasy anyway. You're going to have all these tropes on top, and I wouldn't even consider that the opposite of the Smurfette principle, because there's all these other characters that are female, and they focus on them a lot. It's not just here's a knockoff female character for the sake of it, while the opposite of that is, no, it's in an isekai, well done isekai at least, has 5 or 6 characters. They have backstories. They have their own plots. We deal with them. They're part of the plot in some main way, and you just keep going. So it's not a big deal to have a lot of guys or a lot of girls, especially when you're talking about an all-girls school, an all-guys school, or an army platoon, or a story which is mostly about, like, say, the future world, where they're like Vandred, where it's mostly all women anyway. So you could do that with science fiction. You could do it with fantasy. You could do it with whatever you like. So it's not really a big deal.
Basically, this trope just seems like making a mountain out of a molehill, essentially.
I don't know. Like, I don't know where he goes with this, but it's neither good nor bad. So
I hope he's not trying to make the point that like all these shows should just like have more female characters, because that's gonna make the show better. Right away, because like it's also falling in the Smurfs territory. Is that like Bebop? Because Faye is pretty much like the only women there. Ed is also female, but like she's not really doing anything, and like she's just a kid. So
yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's some seasons of Buffy or Smallville or shows with a lot of girl power where there's a guy like
reverse the Smurfette.
Yeah, with was it Charmed? Those were 3 witches, and I'm sure there was a male in there somewhere. So
yes, one of the husbands.
Yeah, so it's not a big deal. The setup is like, 3 girls do this, 5 guys do that. It's like, who cares? It's fine.
Move those, and especially from the 80s and the 90s. I can only imagine that some of you right now are going, oh, I know what you're talking about. Now, I know when it comes to discussing gender roles in the media, it can be a bit of a touchy subject, but I think we all can have a healthy discussion here for us to examine the Smurfette principle and what it's about, to see if it is an effective way of measuring the representation of women.
Why would it be effective? All you're saying...
I knew this. I knew it.
All they're saying is there's one girl in the story or one girl in the main cast. You're like, and? What's the problem? How is that?
I mean, it's also kind of funny to think about, because when you put in like any kind of a situation, you could theoretically have like whoever you want, right? Like, for example, talk about like a spaceship. You have a crew or whatever. It shouldn't matter which one is a guy or a girl or anything in between of that technicolor rainbow. You can create whatever, right? I feel like adding in multiple female characters just for the sake of representations, just instead of actually doing something with their character or their gender roles or something, is just asking for trouble.
It's kind of like adding token characters into your story.
So imagine JoJo's. That has a lot of guys in it. There's a few girls here and there, I'm sure, but it's mostly guys, and a story about guys. That's fine. What was that one you liked with all the fighting and those ridiculously buff dudes?
Actually, I think part 6 is the reverse of that, because it's like has Jolene as the main character, so it's like the reverse.
She's in the prison, right?
She's in a women's prison as well.
Yeah.
So,
right.
I actually read something about that on TV Tropes where it said that the director of Rocky was a little bit ashamed that he didn't have like so many female characters because they typically resorted to Princess Peach or typical soccer mom cheering on in the background. So he decided to make a part that's full of female characters, and it actually works because it's in a setting that has plenty of reason to have multiple female characters, like a women's prison.
Yeah, that's kind of the point of the setting and the premise. You want to have these segregated areas or settings, an all-female starship, an all-girls school, whatever. It's like, yeah, that's what you expect. So what's wrong with that? Imagine watching Baki and seeing like a buff chick, and she's beating the piss out of some guy. I'd be like, okay, that could work, because
that will never happen.
But I just
what's
Baki? Oh boy, how to explain Baki? Imagine Dragon Ball Z for humans.
Imagine if like there was like a kid who was really buff and like he's capable of like beating up people. He's kind of like Goku, and then he had like the meanest fucking dad ever, and it was like an evil version of Chuck Norris. Because like he does win every single fight, but like his methods are, oh boy.
Yeah. So Baki is special.
God.
It's one of those special shows. So, just like JoJo is special because it's cool and crazy, Baki is just testosterone and blood and muscles. So.
I still say that part 1 and part 2 are my favorite parts of JoJo's. Well, then part 5 maybe.
Yeah, no, JoJo's a special case in many scenarios. Anyway, here's JJJ Madness. Smud, you should know by now from previous Saberspark videos to go in a special direction. Yeah, the feminist lens is kind of pointless in most stories unless you're talking about romance or the coming-of-age stories or women's right to vote, so turn of the century stories.
Or something like the first women's army thing that they had to hide or something.
Yeah. Something where it's very specific to a period piece, and then they focus on women a lot, and then you would use that lens because that's what you want to identify, because that's what most of the story is about, but you want to zero in on this or that. You don't do it for like an army story or a space opera. Like it's not useful. It doesn't really reveal anything special. So, but these guys like to say, "Oh, why aren't women represented in anime?" I'm like, it's freaking anime. There's something for everyone. Shut up. Stop complaining and looking at dumb shit.
If I remember correctly, there's a lot of women represented in anime.
Oh God,
Who
yeah.
the heck is saying that?
There's so much manga for girls I've never heard of before. There's so many games for girls. There's magical girl genre. You have reverse harem. You have otome games. Obviously this whole Sailor Moon ripoffs. I guess that's magical girl as well. There's a lot. So
they don't count. They don't have strong, independent women.
Well, I wouldn't call Serena from Sailor Moon strong independent, but
yeah, I know. I was making a joke about that.
Yeah.
I usually do that stupid tone of voice whenever I'm doing like a mocking of what stupid people like that online would say. Like what was her name? That feminist frequency girl. I forgot her name.
Oh, Anita.
Oh yeah, shit she would say. Yeah, I would make that tone of voice and just mock it, just repeat it like that.
Yeah, she's I haven't heard from her in years, and I'm glad. I'm just happy.
That is for the best.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah. All right.
Media, and whether or not those roles are primarily tropes or cliches.
Who cares? What if they are? What's the big deal? Maybe I want to see a story about a bunch of burly guys in the army, and then there's the hot chick in the corner who's trying to seduce them all, and she's the blonde, big titty, dumb blonde. Like who cares? Like pick any trope. I don't care. Like what's the problem with that? Is it hurting your audience? Are you offending someone? Good. Don't watch it. Whoop-de-doo. Go watch Samurai Pizza Cats or Sailor Moon. Really.
to serve male characters. Also,
to serve male characters. I don't know how they're serving them. They're just supporting roles, so of course they're going to be helping.
Smurfette principle is an absolute. Is every single movie or show that falls under the Smurfette principle inherently bad or sexist? Or is there more to it than that? And has the media improved over time with its representation of women?
How is that improved? What do you mean?
I'd say default rather than pro-evolved.
Yeah, what if we have a really good supporting female cast member in a story? Let's say Forrest Gump. Now, the character of Jenny in Forrest Gump is a very complicated character, but she's not the focus of the narrative. So I would say she did her role well. I don't know how much she supports Forrest as a person who drives the plot, but his life sort of revolves around, trying to be with her at least. So Forrest goes his own way, then he finds Jenny's back, he goes to follow her, starts a family, and then she dies, and then he has to deal with that, and that's how the story sort of ends. So, I mean, there's all kinds of great characters that are supporting female roles in movies and books. So what makes that good or bad? It's just the quality of their character, not so much that they're female. That's kind of irrelevant.
A part of me wants to mention some female characters that I really like that I feel like are really good. I might just say that for later, though.
All right, no problem.
All in all, there's a lot to discuss here. And trust me, there's gonna be a lot of cartoons that I'm gonna check out that's guilty of the Smurfette principle.
Okay.
Cartoons that are like, okay, we got the one girl, let's move on. Could you imagine that, though? Having a lone girl character who only exists to serve a particular purpose for a particular script,
I have my doubts
that they're only necessary.
They had like the directors saying that like, okay, now we have the women out of the way.
Yeah.
Now we can focus on the story.
I'm thinking of like Thundercats, where you have Chitara and the female. Is it Wily Kit and Wily Cat? The female other one. And it's like it doesn't really matter if all of them were female. It really wouldn't. It's about Lion-O trying to be a leader and learning how to have friendships and fight villains and have adventures. It's not, we don't need romance. I don't think there is romance in that story at all. So whoop-de-doo.
I'm gonna head outside for a second.
All right. Yeah, it's like he's the prince of the Thundercats, and he's like trying to be a good leader. That's the whole story. So good for everyone serving the leader who happens to be male.
On certain occasions where a woman's touch is required, well, I'm proud to say that my channel would never stoop so low. We have class here on saberspark.youtube.com.gov, and you better believe that. Ow!
That's what you get for making me wear that stupid Smurfette outfit on the thumbnail.
But.
So what are the origins of the Smurfette principle? Well, the concept was brought up by Katha Pollitt, a professional writer and poet. Back in April of 1991, Katha wrote an article called The Smurfette Principle.
And obviously didn't watch the Smurfs, because she would have known about that at that time.
Usually the people who write these articles are the people who never watched any of these
Yeah,
shows.
and what the hell's that photo? That's not a Smurf. What the what? What is that?
I'm just getting flashbacks to Night Trap when people were talking about how in the game you're supposed to kill these women when it's the actual opposite.
Oh yeah, I remember that controversy. Yeah,
it's so sexist. Yeah,
literally sexist garbage. Get it out of our games.
Well, like what like you mentioned like feminist frequency. Like Anita Sarkeesian was having a clip of Hitman Absolution and said like, well, the game encourages you to like kill these hookers, and then the footage also contained that like, oh, you get like minus points for killing like civilians that you weren't being targeted. So it kind of like undermining your own argument in your footage.
Yeah, which means she didn't play the game, or if she did play the game, she had no idea what she was doing.
I think like this journalist just did the same thing.
Yeah.
if she mentioned Grand Theft Auto, for the love of God.
Oh, that'll probably pop up because it's always the most popular game in any generic discussion of video games and patterns. It's like, oh, everyone plays this.
Grand Theft Auto is already like bending the knee. I've heard that there was the remaster for GTA 5, and they had to remove some characters because they were transphobic, supposedly, because you can't kill them. So that's already transphobic because you have the chance to kill them. So
yeah. So anyway, the idea of the Smurfs was cannot have the Smurfette principle because in 1985 they added a new female Smurfette or a new female Smurf, and then later on in the series they added even more females. So, but by itself as a pattern, even if she coined the phrase, it's like who cares? Who cares that a lot of stories have guys and one girl, or guys and one baby, or one infant, or one child, or one dog, or whatever. Like pick an individual character with a pattern, and say, yeah, oh, it's you're discriminating against the Asian Chinese babies. You're like, what? No, what are you talking about? Anyway.
It's that it was incredibly difficult to find a movie or show for her 3-year-old daughter that wasn't dominated by an all or mostly male cast. According to Katha, quote, contemporary shows are either essentially all male, like Garfield, or are organized on what I call the Smurfette principle.
Wait. You started off with Garfield?
Garfield is a fucking cat. Oh, God.
It's about a cat, his friendly, silly dog, and his owner. That's about it.
So it's about slavery as well.
I'm just. Okay.
Is Garfield black?
I'm just thinking about why she mentioned that in the. Okay, let me focus my brain. In the article, she mentioned that it was hard enough finding like role models for her daughter or something along the lines of that. I think that's what she said. Or hard to find shows for her daughter to watch because it was dominated by an all-male or mostly male, but one token female cast, in her words, essentially. Paraphrasing.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, there's plenty of female characters I think are pretty good role models, and I'm a guy.
Yeah. I mean, if we're talking about the 80s, there was a bunch of shows for girls as well. There was Strawberry Shortcake, there was Gem, and the Holograms. I don't remember watching. There was Barbie, of course. I don't remember watching them, but they were there. So, is she complaining no one buys enough toys to facilitate these shows? Maybe. Sure. Okay.
And heck, I could probably say the Smurfette principle would shoot itself in the foot when thinking about how many freaking villains in all of media at the time was probably a guy. Name one female villain outside of the Dark Queen. Even then, that was name one female villain outside of the Disney movies, which was probably mostly female villains, I think.
A lot of witches, yeah, a lot of evil queens, yeah, for sure.
But even that Disney princess movies, most all the heroes were mostly the females, so it's
yeah.
Sorry, I just can't.
All right, here's JJJ Manis again. Thank you. If you ever want to understand why the written cartoons have gotten so bad, you need to do is check videos like this and hear all their advice. Oh, they give advice? That's great. Fantastic.
Oh, that was supposed to be advice?
Well, when I do an analysis, I just sort of say, here's the problems. I don't try and, people complain, well, why don't you give solutions? It's like, it's not my job to give solutions to a story which is broken. It's like saying, hey, this car has a flat tire. You know what you should do? You should fix the tire. It's not like I have to explain that. This is the problem. That's how you don't write. So,
hey, don't drive that car. It's pretty much messed up. Won't you have a solution? I'm telling you not to drive it.
Yeah. There's no gas in the car. There's no windshield. It's like, oh, well, what's the problem? What do you do? It's like, well, you go to a specialist and they will write you a better story. So there's lots of ways to fix something that's broken.
Or just don't make it at all.
Yeah, just don't even do it. It's such a big mess.
Scrap all of it.
Yeah, when you talk about the sequels to Star Wars or Star Trek, you're like, yeah, this is complete utter trash, why even bother? So, anyway.
Oh, have you seen the 10th episode?
I am 2/3 done Picard's last episode, yes, on my video. So I've been editing it today, and I'm
There's a 10th Star Wars?
No, I hope not.
Oh, thank God.
I would really hate to see that really soon. No. Picard, the end of season 2 just finished Thursday, I think. And I finished my script. I was doing the editing today. And I had to like go watch some other Star Trek just to feel like happy again. It's just like, oh, this is how Patrick Stewart should play. Like, oh, let's watch that like for an hour. Like, oh, thank you.
Yeah. Have you seen Mike Stokasa from Red Letter Media like breaking his table because he got so angry?
I was waiting for 2 weeks for that video to come out because he missed like he said he was going to do 2 each every time they came out. But then some celebrity or whatever who works with Christopher Nolan was on Best of the Worst, so they sort of had no time.
Yes.
And by that time, it was like 4 weeks. And then he decided to release it the day later after episode 9. And I was like, I watched that, and it was so weird because I bet he had a huge list. And right at the end, he sort of talked about stuff he didn't like, but he just sort of scrapped the list and just did his own thing.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Yeah, that was funny. That was sad and funny. He just sat there like a broken man. I'm like, oh, jeez, leave this guy alone. Okay. Anyway, back to the Smurfette principle.
Will be accented by a lone female, stereotypically defined. For obvious reasons, she called it the Smurfette principle because of, you guessed it, Smurfette and the role she typically plays in the Smurfs. She can't catch a mother Smurfin' break. Katha would then...
What does she do? I don't remember what Smurfette does.
She exists.
Yeah.
She's mainly a supporting character, I think. Which, this is the problem with Smurfette, if you ask me. Everyone of the Smurfs has their role in the village. Like Vanity, we all know he's a narcissistic person. It's like, oh yes, Dopey's just like, or not Dopey, but Snorri or whatever. What's the name of that Smurf that sleeps a lot? You know, I don't even have to know his name, but I still know there was a role he did. Brainy Smurf was the town asshole, or the one everyone bullied. Smurfette, I think she was like a jack of all trades, either that or
reproduction.
The what?
They don't talk about how it works. They just know it works.
Yeah.
They need a female.
That's kind of like you expect a society to have females. It'd be weird not to have them. So it's like, oh yeah, throw a girl in there for believability at least. You're like, yeah, sure. That's all. They're one of the guys. They act like one of the guys. They're tomboyish or the exact opposite, but they'll chum around with the guys anyway. It's fine. It's not a big deal. No one really cares. We're just a bunch of kids.
It's weird because the female ones I think are tongue twisted. Mainly the ones that are created that join the village. They aren't the ones that are naturally there in the first place.
I'm still trying to think of most of these shows I watched as a kid that had the token female, and I'm like, I don't remember the problem. That they weren't the sex bomb because this is for kids, so they weren't. Usually, sometimes they were the hidden princess. Sometimes they were the damsel. I remember Dark Water, which was a show on 2 seasons in the early 90s. They had a female there with like 2 males, I believe. It was like a pirate story. So it was fine. Like, these are good, fun stories for kids. And I don't know what the issue is, because kids don't think in terms of, oh, there's only one girl, there's only one dog or one magical alien. Like, no, we're not keeping track of this shit. We're just having a good time watching the show. So anyway, 360, thanks for the 360. Smudboy would make a great auditor. An auditor of what exactly? What am I auditing?
Over analysts of cartoons ruin them. Or analysis.
I think it's their
anal cis.
I'm an analyst and I'm a therapist. Anyway.
Yeah, but I'm saying when it comes to analyzing cartoons, I think, well, no, I don't think any typical reasonable person would go like, "Oh, there's only one female character. This sucks." Or
right.
Something like that.
Same with Sailor Moon. You don't go, "Oh, there's no male sailor or male guys in magical boy school outfits." Like, I don't think that's a problem in the story.
I would make a pro Jared joke, but I would feel horrible considering he got robbed of his 1 million subscribers. Turns out he was innocent.
Oh.
Yeah, the joke was that there was an image of him having like a Sailor Mercury, I think, the blue-haired one. And it was kind of funny. But yeah, sorry about that.
Alrighty. Here's Kaiser Sussy. Love it. Smurfette exists in the Smurf world to get a Smurf ran on her. As far as female characters go, there's been thousands of that play both supporting and main roles in cartoons. I still don't see it as an issue or as a male or female issue. Even if it was, then it'd be geared towards boys or girls, and you'd be like, that's fine. That's what they want to see. That's what worked. That's what they stuck with. No one's whining.
Not all cartoons are created equal. That's why preferences are a thing.
That's why toys work in certain areas, and like it's like we have He-Man and we have She-Ra. Great, they both worked. They played both sides. They didn't care. They just wanted to make money from selling toys. Voila, it worked.
I think it was actually geared towards females at the start because people saw these things as like dolls first until they had to get rebranded as like action figures. So that guys would actually buy them, not think, "Oh, that's girly."
And there were Barbies at the time as well. So people were buying Barbies just as much as they were buying He-Man figures or G.I. Joe figures. So
yeah,
I was watching everything. I was a kid. I was watching whatever was on TV. Didn't bother me.
Go on to list notable examples from around that time. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with April O'Neil, Winnie the Pooh with Conga, and even Sesame Street, a show that was known for being progressive, had no real leading ladies when it came to main characters. All in all, it was abundantly clear.
Sorry.
Go back. She said no lead characters. April O'Neil, as last I checked, was a leading character in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. What was the other one that she mentioned again?
Just go back.
Yeah.
Catch a Mother Smurfin' break. Katha would then go on to list notable examples from around that time. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with April O'Neil, Winnie the Pooh with Conga, and even Sesame...
Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh. What the fuck?
Yeah, I don't think I ever watched Winnie the Pooh and went, you know what? Where are all the females?
Yeah, it's like, what?
All I wanted from Winnie the Pooh was wholesome shit, not, man, Kanga looking cute.
Yeah. As for Sesame Street, obviously there's Miss Piggy. You had, I think there was a bunch of others, but like this never popped up in my head as like a 3-year-old going, "Hey, where are all the girls in my Muppet show?"
Also, did she like move the goalpost? Because like now it's about lead characters.
Wait. Wasn't that the Muppets though? Miss Piggy was the Muppets.
Yeah, but Muppets and Sesame Street, they're all Jim Henson. There's no plot. It's just a bunch of shows for kids to learn singing and dancing and the alphabet. There's no goal. They don't. Miss Piggy is, I'm going to go buy some apples at the store, and I need strong men to walk it down with the bags. No, there's no conflict. I don't remember that at all. So no, Sesame Street is not your typical story. that you would think. The same
So
with,
this is like another case is that like because they are like male characters, girls can't relate to them. Where have I heard that before? Disney sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
When it came to like Luke Skywalker, like Kathleen Kennedy said, like, "Wow, girls can't really relate to Luke Skywalker because it's a male. So they relate to Princess Leia."
If I can identify with female characters, I'm fairly confident females can identify with male characters.
Yeah,
exactly.
And think of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles the same way you think of like gargoyles. The story is about the turtles or the gargoyles or the robots or whatever. That's kind of what we care about. We don't care about so much the humans that much. They're there. They're cool. But, like Transformers, there was a guy, I think, and they had some female Transformers for fun, for whatever reason. But
RC, I remember, was one of them.
Yeah, it wasn't that big a deal, and no one went complained, where are all the female humans? It's like, humans? I want to watch some freaking robots beat each other up. What are you talking about? Like, who cares? That's weird. So we need better examples than this.
Street was known for being progressive, had no real leading ladies when it came to main characters. All in all, it was abundantly clear to Katha that, quote, boys are the norm, girls the variation, boys the central, girls peripheral. Boys are individuals, girls types. Boys define the group, its story, and its code of value.
Okay, wait. These are a lot of attributes, and I want to know where they're... You can't just say boys are the norm because there's more stuff geared towards boys. That's just business. That's just how they make money. That's how they sell stuff. Whereas if you look at Gem and the Holograms, a lot of girls watched that. I watched it too, but a lot of girls bought or wanted those dolls. And it was a great show. Like you really, it was fun. Like they had really good music for obviously kids, but even adults now, they can still watch it and enjoy the music. And they had romance stories and action stories and business stories. There's all these Battle of the Bands and stuff like that.
Wasn't there like an older show around the Smurfs time called Josie and the Pussycats or something like that?
I don't know. There's a bunch. There was a bunch I haven't seen, and some of them didn't last very long. But Gem was special because it sold itself on being a girls show and being a music. Like you could buy the music. And the cassettes, like you'd listen to it like as music. It was great. And they had like multiple bands. It wasn't just Gem and the Misfits. There was like 5 or 6 bands. It was great. Oh my goodness.
Sorry.
No, I'm just like, this is like, do you know the audience? If you know the audience, she completely missed those 3 shows we talked about. Gem and the Holograms, Strawberry Shortcake, and what's the other one? I guess the Smurfs could be for girls. Yeah, I don't know. Like I just didn't watch them because I was a guy. I didn't, I like action. I like fun stuff.
I think their argument would be more powerful, more effective actually, if they was like, this shit is not the mainstream norm. It would reinforce it, but it wouldn't say that all cartoons don't have like female role models. Yeah. It's just female role models that are in the mainstream shit.
Right. So Care Bears was for everyone. My Little Pony was pretty much for everyone too. She-Ra was probably, I guess more oriented towards girls as well, but I watched She-Ra. The Flintstones, yeah, same with all those Hanna-Barbera stuff. So Inspector Gadget. Oh man, there's all kinds, but I just don't remember them all. It's like they were for kids, and kids just watch whatever was fun to watch. If it was a boring show, you just stopped watching. It didn't matter what was on. But that was the 80s.
Man, this Smurfs looks boring. It's all about caring and sharing. I want to watch some G.I. Joe.
Yeah, sometimes. And sometimes Gem was better. You watch Gem. So.
And G.I. Joe had like 2 female leading ladies that are at the front lines. I'm fairly confident because there was Scarlet and Lady Jane. Oh, there's also Jinx as well.
Oh, the Baroness was pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
exist only in relation to boys. Now, was there actually any validity to Katha's claim? Well, when considering the landscape of animation from the early 90s, I would say yes. There's plenty of evidence that confirms the allegation and how boys had preferential treatment when it came to representation in the media at that time. Now, there were exceptions to the rule, such as the first generation of My Little Pony, but those shows would mostly fall onto the other side of the gender spectrum. It's like, oh...
So you're saying they're for guys, mostly? Maybe this has nothing to do with... the content, and it's just because boys liked watching TV more and or liked cartoons more. Like there's could be lots of reasons why guys like cartoons more.
Oh dear God, I just remember she said something along the lines of My Little Pony is on the other end of the other end of the gender spectrum. And I'm just thinking, aren't a lot of these cartoons just androgynous when it comes to male or female or whatever, just in the middle for the most part? Like, I can't think of any cartoon that's geared towards masculine stuff, unless it's like just a flexathon or something.
A lot of these shows do have all kinds of female characters. As I said, with He-Man, with Thundercats, you said Lady J and Scarlet. Gem and the Holograms, it was all female cast. Chitara, like there's so many. They didn't forget about girls, they just weren't the focus because the story wasn't about women's problems. It was about action, it was about defeating a villain, and for whatever reason, guys seemed to be attracted to other guys beating up other guys. It wasn't that cool to see guys beat up girls. And that could be part of the lesson you were learning in G.I. Joe or in Thundercats or in any of these other shows. So I wouldn't say that's a bad thing because you're taught to respect women and girls, especially growing up. So that could be part of the lessons as well. Anyway, My Little Pony, didn't really watch My Little Pony that much, but it was on. So
I'll admit I watched the fourth generation because, okay, admittedly, I thought it was going to be a girly type of thing, and I just wanted to laugh. And admittedly, I was too lazy to change the channel, and I was like, okay, this show's not too bad, I guess.
Yeah.
And I just wonder why they had to mention, like My Little, because I'm fairly confident later on in the video they're going to say My Little Pony and say, oh, but that's for like children or whatever. That's like overly girly. And that's just kind of like moving the goalposts, I think.
Yeah, I remember there wasn't a show of it. It was Cabbage Patch Kids, but it was a toy that existed in the 80s. And I don't know why it was popular. It just was. And some people had it and some people didn't. And you had to know of it. So there's
are you talking about the Cabbage Patch Kids similar thing or the Cabbage Patch Kids itself?
I'm quite sure it was a toy. I don't think it was a show, though, in the 80s.
I think it was a card game.
A card game, really?
I think like something like that.
I don't remember. I just remember it being like when you go to the toy store as a kid and you look around and you saw all these things like G.I. Joe and Gem and Barbies. Like Barbie wasn't a show. I don't remember that being a show at all. We just everyone knew what Barbie dolls were. Same with Cabbage Patch Kids. So, this is what people bought, and then people went, hey, we could sell toys via cartoons, and that's what they did. And that was kind of the business model. So they wouldn't make too much money with the license, with the publisher, but they branded it with toys you could go buy so kids would, pick up He-Man, this or that.
I'd argue that the female shows in this situation where their lifeblood is the toy line, it's probably skewed towards girls because, well, at the time, I'm assuming that the Barbie dolls were really popular and stuff like that would also be popular as well.
Oh, yeah. There were definitely My Little Pony dolls with the long hair, and they could brush them and play with them around. Like that.
And if
that was normal.
And if shows like that were like relying on the toy sales for the bloodline to continue or whatever, then yeah, it's more likely that the female shows would continue on instead of the G.I. Joe, which was mainly relying on guys buying those toys. And they had to rebrand the male version ones into action figures just for them not to be associated with dolls, which was associatedly girly, I think.
Right. All right. Well, let's see her keep going.
Oh, so you want mostly girl and feminine characters, huh? Okay, I hope you enjoy tea parties. So when one considers cartoons and movies from the 20th century, I think it's fair to say that representation was skewed towards guys.
What the? This is not even from the 80s or 90s. What?
Why Overwatch characters?
Yeah.
Pop out.
Okay. Maybe if she showed like G.I. Joe characters or Thundercats, I'd be like, oh yeah, cool. Do that.
Pop out too.
I mean, like, this is really not driving her point home. This is just
It's more
such a distraction.
It's more like a distraction than it's more like it's being lazy. It's just
It's kind of like the
I
journalist. Like it's probably like driving it there.
All right, let's keep going.
And present as main characters, it was usually just one, and it was more in a supporting or romantic role.
Oh my god, this is so silly.
Okay, I just want to say something about the romantic role because it takes two to tango with that. Like, it's not just one. It's not just like the girl just being like, "Oh, woe is me, I need a man." The man also has to play like, "Oh God, I just want to confess my feelings." It's just not like, you know, not just one supporting storyline or something. It's like it takes two to tango with that.
You can make the same argument for the girl shows, like Gem and the Holograms had that one guy that Gem was interested in, and so was the leader of the Misfits. You know, so it doesn't really matter which show you watch if it has a subplot or a subgenre of romance. They got to keep it simple. They can't have like this gigantic, trapezoid of interconnected romance plots. It's like, no, you just one guy, two girls, two guys, one girl. That's it. Good.
A love hexagon.
The love octagon. What the hell?
Octagon.
The dodecahedron of love. It's like, what the hell is? No, the kids watching a show about girls singing. Can't be that complicated.
Once again, there are exceptions, but they definitely weren't the norm.
Okay, what is the norm? Give us an example of a normal kids show for boys and then girls, and we'll look at it. That's all you have to do. Give us the most popular kids show of the 80s and 90s. We'll do that.
Take Gem and the Holograms.
All right.
A cartoon from the mid-1980s. Despite being a show with a mostly female cast that was marketed towards little girls, a lot of young boys watched the show too.
Yes.
There was something about it that caught their attention despite the pink flair. But
No. It was a great show. It had simple plots. It had you had a computer that turned you into whatever you wanted, called Synergy, and it had music that no other cartoon did. You had actual music, which was really cool, and it was from multiple bands. No other show was doing this. It didn't matter if it was about aliens or boys or hot chicks. It happened to be hot chicks. So good for them. And it was so 80s. It was so 80s. It was like pink hair and purple hair and girls dancing around. It was awesome.
Hot chicks helped.
I swear she's going to say the only reason guys watched was because the chicks were hot or something. I just want to point out that you can look at an image of a hot lady all you want, but that's not going to keep you motivated to watch 30 minutes of that hot lady.
Yes.
There has to be some kind of... It's like having a donut without the filling. You got to have a filling just to make it satisfying.
Yeah, there's got to be something to these characters, something to the entertainment of the show, whether it's the music, the sound, the visual. And the visuals weren't that great. This is the 80s, so you're not expecting much anyway. But what you got, like you had Voltron and you had all these other weird shows that were out there. And you had this story about a bunch of girls trying to have a music career with a bunch of other girls battling them and battle the band stuff. And then you had another group and then another group, and it just kept getting more and more competitive. So it was fun. And you got new music every week. And even if the music was like 20 seconds or 40 seconds with a stanza or a little solo, and then go back to the same piece of music, it was new. It was like, wow, their actors are actually singing the songs. It was great.
With a theme song as amazing as this, should we really be surprised? Legit, I love this intro. Oh my God. All in all, though, there's a lot to unpack with this discussion, but before—
Wait, that was it?
Oh, come on!
She just mentioned it exists, and I like the intro. It's like, dude, can you tell me why it works as a whatever female pattern, which is against
Smud, you see, unfortunately, that whatever journalist didn't write anything about it, so like, how should she know? Is she a journalist?
Here's this amazing.
She cannot have opinions.
Here's this amazing exception to the rule. I loved it, and then she just changes the. It's like, what? No. Talk about Gem and the Holograms, please.
Wait. I think she's afraid to mention other examples because it would weaken her point a bit.
My Little Pony, Gem and the Holograms, She-Ra. Go for it. Go, please.
I want to check out some notable culprits of the Smurfette principle. Trust me, there's a lot of them.
Oh my God. Oh.
Like I said before, there's a lot of content that falls under the Smurfette principle. Like, a lot. Let's run down the list. Popeye, Rocky and Bullwinkle, Winnie the Pooh.
Whoa. Popeye. A show from the 50s?
No, not even 50s. It was the 20s and 30s.
The motherfucking female character is notorious. It's like, oh my gosh.
Popeye.
The motherfucking female character.
Okay, well, think about Popeye for a second. He has like near cosmic powers at times. He could blow himself up and come back. He eats some magical vegetable that turns him into God.
Spinach, yes.
He gets into
and spinach.
He could paint a ship with his body, or repair a battleship with his body and paint it. Like it's so crazy silly. You're not thinking, hey, there's only one other female. Like, no one gives a shit. No one cares that what's her name is a head with a stick. Like, that's her body. It's just no one cares.
Oh wait, I got the perfect one. This video ain't witty cause Saber Spark is shitty. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man.
We could go through each of these shows if we knew them, but I'm quite sure that the setting and what the story and what the characters were trying to do has nothing to do with their gender.
Also, Space Ghost. Come on. I don't think it was about any of those characters.
Before we move on, I've been informed that Mike Testa wants in on this.
Oh boy.
Okay.
You say so. I don't know if this is a good idea, but here's Mike.
What makes it not a good idea is having Mike, Testa, and Abby in the same call together.
Oh boy.
All right. Well, we'll wait for
9/11.
Okay. No 9/11 jokes. Anyway.
I don't want to know what 9/11 is.
What was that, Mike? Hey?
I heard the word 9/11 and I'm summoned.
Okay. Good.
Oh.
That's a good.
Yes.
The headphones are working. That's good. Okay. Anyway, let's go through this.
The madness continues.
Here we go.
Space Ghost, Biker Mice from Mars, Road Rovers, the original Yogi, and also Yo-Yogi, Rescue Rangers, Gargoyles, Space Jam, and...
Okay, she mentioned Gargoyles, Space Jam, Rescue Rangers. These are all anthropomorphic creatures. Their gender is irrelevant.
Well, in Gargoyle's defense, the main female was like one of the few humans. Even then, she still kicked ass.
Well, there was Desdemona. She was female. She was a gargoyle.
Yeah.
There was the Xanatos' wife. I can't remember her name. There were other females. This is a city. He's a rich. He's basically Elon Musk, and he's crazy. Evil Elon Musk.
Riker is always crazy.
Yeah, I know. Great show, though. One of my favorites. Gargoyles was really good.
Oh yeah, it was good.
And no one went, oh, if only there were more female gargoyles. Like, maybe I'd be like, I'd like to see more designs. But I wasn't like, darn. This is really bad for women watching the show. Desdemona's a villain. The other female's a villain, and the only human a male or friend is a cop. She's good. So, my God.
And Space Jam, I just want to say the most notable thing about Space Jam was Lola Bunny. Lola Bunny ended up becoming one of the most popular female characters. Even if she was like the Smurfette, she was such a good Smurfette that it was so popular that you cannot imagine Looney Tunes without Lola. And even there were a lot of other female Looney Tunes besides Lola as well.
Yeah.
But Space Jam Lola wasn't a character, she was a walking trope.
Right, but imagine like Animaniacs had 2 sisters and 1 brother. Like who cares? Or 3 sisters. Like I would be like, I'd still watch it. It's still funny. There's nothing wrong with that.
Lunatics, Thundercats, and original DuckTales, Goof Troop, and a Goofy movie, The Iron Giant, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, The Road to El Dorado, Wacky Races, Rocket Power, Buzz Lightyear, Star Command, Silverhawks, Bionicle, The Penguins of Madagascar, Pirates of Dark Water.
The Penguins? Is there...
they had that show that existed.
Oh,
they had Marlene. She was an otter.
Oh, this is my favorite. This is Pirates of Dark Water. There it is. Awesome.
I just want to point out something about the Smurfette principle. I think it should only work if it's like a cast of 10 main characters and only one of them is a female. But most of these are just like 4 to 5.
Yeah, it's not that bad. Yeah, now some of these it's not that bad with the numbers, and even then in a lot of these shows the female character or characters that are actually well written.
Right.
Wait, isn't the show to Darkwater in the form of a video game?
I think there was a video game as well, but I never played it. I don't know what it was like.
Me neither.
It was a good show for 2 seasons, but other than that, no.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just want to ask a question. Which sex of character do you think is most likely to be forgettable? The male or the female?
For which show?
In most of these shows.
What character?
Just any of them.
It has nothing to do with their sex, honestly. It has everything to do with what they did in the story. Like, I remember Thundercats, right? They had 2 female, they had a younger Thundercat and Chitara. And there was that one episode where they're training Lino. He has to defeat them all. And Chitara was the fastest runner, right? But they were doing a distance race, not a speed race. So Chitara just burnt herself out, and then she was jogging, whereas Lino just paced himself. And then you have to fight like a mind battle with the whip guy, because he was, screwing with his mind. You have to fight some other physical battle with the nunchaku guy. Like, it was all about trials. It was nothing to do with male or female. So that was cool, and that was memorable.
I was gonna like flip their point on their head. Like, I cannot imagine like any female character from these shows to be forgettable, but more likely the male characters in these shows are going to have a higher chance to be forgettable than the female ones.
It really depends. Remember Penny from Inspector Gadget? Like, she was the brains of the show. Inspector Gadget was a moron, and she's the one who solved all the problems with her dog. Inspector Gadget was just getting in the way of everything and messing stuff up. Same with Scooby-Doo. It was always Thelma, I think. She was the smarts. Everyone else was kind of dumb. Like, it's really about their function in the story, what they do in the story, what tools they bring. Everything else is a power fantasy of some nature for these kids shows, and that's fine. It's escapism. You've got power fantasies, and it's all genre. It's all genre based. So I can make the same argument with reverse harems and isekais or otome games for girls. It's the same. Why are there so many men? It's because it's a story about a girl being hit on by princesses or princes. That's the beauty of the escapism for girls. That's the nature of that's like complaining, oh, this romance doesn't have enough blood and gore in it, or doesn't have enough action adventure. It's like it's not supposed to. Yeah, I expect romance to be about romance, and it doesn't matter if it's 5 guys and 1 girl or the opposite. That's the nature of the story.
Water, Shaolin Showdown. Oh God, the green M&M, the real Ghostbusters, He-Man.
The green.
Nope.
The green M&M.
No.
This whole list is just gonna be nope.
Pretty much.
Why mention the green?
And again, He-Man kind of doesn't count because She-Ra got her own show anyway.
Oh my gosh.
The green M&M. Are we sure this isn't Linkara in disguise?
guys. Listen. You can hear Tucker Carlson right now. He's coming for the green M&M.
Oh. Okay. Let's keep going.
And Street Sharks, Paw Patrol, Homestar, the
Paw Patrol, really?
Wait, what? Why Paw Patrol? What the fuck happened there?
I don't know jack shit about Paw Patrol.
Well,
Me neither.
It's a bunch of dogs. They're adorable and cute. Honestly, when you guys get a dog, do you really care if it's a male or a female?
Not really.
No, it's like is he or she adorable, and can I love her or him? Yes, it's a good.
Also, Homestar.
Yeah.
Really?
I probably should have cared about my dog being a male though, considering the fact that I left him out one time and he got another dog pregnant.
Nice.
I kind of felt shitty for that one.
Like, sorry about that. Anyway.
first Toy Story, Ratatouille, the Box Troll.
Ratatouille. Are you joking me? A story about
Tom and Jerry.
What is this character? I have never seen this character in Tom and Jerry. I've seen the movie. Not good.
Isn't
But,
like one of the
Isn't there going to be another movie?
Not sure.
Isn't one of the most important things in Ratatouille about how Paulette was seen as lesser because she was a woman? So I don't think the Smurfette principle would have been effective here, considering her being a woman adds to her role, for the love of God, instead of just being a generic love interest. Because she said in the film, people look down on her because she's a woman and all that.
I'm trying to see what this trope is all about, because it seems to be pretty basic. Like, all you're saying is the formula is there's lots of guys and 1 girl. And I'm like, well, how is that a problem? What does the girl do? What do the guys do? Is there a reason why we have this? Like, there's lots of stories where you have lots of girls and there's like 1 male teacher or 1 male volleyball coach or whatever. And you're like, okay, it's a story about an all-girls class or an all-girls volleyball team. It's like, that's the point. Why would you see that as good or bad?
I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's completely irrelevant.
Tom and Jerry, Real Monsters, Bravest Warriors, Inspector Gadget, the first season of Yu-Gi-Oh!, Megas XLR, Reboot, SWAT.
Inspector Gadget has an older uncle, his niece, and her dog.
It's literally 3 characters.
Also, the first season of Yu-Gi-Oh! There's at least 3 female characters, at least, in the first season of Yu-Gi-Oh!
I'll give Yu-Gi-Oh! I'll give them Yu-Gi-Oh! Because Tia Gardner was basically a cheerleader. So was Tristan, though, but let's not talk about that. They had My Valentine, who basically was the character to use her charms to effectively get over or ahead of people. And who is the third one?
Joey's sister.
Oh, Joey's. That was like season 2.
Now we actually see her, but she's referenced as early as season 1.
But it's even worse if you consider Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 0, because there wasn't just 1 female character, but 2 female main characters.
Oh no!
There was Miho Nosaka, I believe. I actually love Season 0. I will fanboy over that shit a lot.
All right.
Cats, Darkwing Duck, The Funky Phantom, Catanuga Cats, Rambo, The Force of Freedom, 321 Penguins, the first season of
Wait, why Rambo?
Rambo?
That's a thing? I never knew that.
Oh, hey, wait a minute. Don't. Oh,
yes,
no,
they
don't
made a
you-
cartoon out of Rambo.
Wow.
Oh, don't you dare pull the Rocco's Modern Life card there. Nope, that's cheating.
So most of these characters are not actually human. They're anthropomorphic or some creature.
Some of them are female coded, you know.
Female coded. Some of them are male coded then.
Wasn't like there are two notable female characters I can think of in Rocco's that was in the main cast. There's a Miss Ed and that crazy cat bitch.
Big head. I forgot. Dr.
Hutchinson, I think.
Hutchison.
Okay, let's keep going.
Rocco's Modern Life, Skunk Fu, and the Lion Guard. Oh my god. And that's just some of the animated stuff, and doesn't even include
she didn't
the
even mention
legions
Berserk.
of live-action shows.
What kind of list
Why
is
did you
that?
count live action? I thought this was animation talk.
I don't know. She just listed the stuff she likes, obviously, because you could poke fun at things 50 years ago that don't adhere to your current level of standards of whatever bullshit. Like back in the day, women weren't allowed to vote. Oh, yeah, you're right. 100 years ago, you're right. Why is that relevant today? It's silly.
Because I don't like it.
There's lots of shit you could say about the past, but I don't know why this is a problem.
And that's just ignoring the good things of the past if you're just going to focus on the bad shit.
Yeah, a lot of those shows were really good. Who cares what the cast was made up of?
And movies that do the same. But there are three that I want to talk about in particular. The original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Star Wars, and of course, the Smurfs.
Star Wars?
Star Wars, Smurfs, and Ninja Turtles. Oh, can't you people pick a different franchise?
Well,
Like, just like tell me like how could Star Wars be better if like there were more female characters? The original one, like,
Right.
seriously, like, there's no way.
and even her third example, the Smurfs, we know that there are more than one female, and even then, it's irrelevant to the story. This is not about. Is there a story where the Smurfs fall in love, or there's some potion and they all get like intoxicated or something, and they all chase after one girl? I don't remember that. It might happen, but even then, how is that a bad story for girls? None of this seems to be very relevant or conductive of learning from something. Oh, we should never make the Smurfs again. Like, why? Why not? We did. We remade it.
Isn't Star Wars just a trio anyways with Leia, Han, and Luke?
Yeah.
Well, then again, there was
Among
Chewbacca
others.
as well.
And C-3PO. And R2-D2. And Lando.
But
Yeah.
they were
Then
all
it's not a trio. You know what? Forget
God, this
that.
video is
That's the joke.
Anyway.
Think it makes no sense to start with this one. The Smurfs started as a Belgian comic in 1958 and would eventually get a cartoon adaptation in 1981. Animated by Hanna-Barbera, the cartoon was very popular at the time and continues to be somewhat popular to this very day. Smurfette herself first appeared in 1966 in the Smurfs' third comic album called The Smurfette. In the story, Gargamel creates Smurfette in order to spy on the Smurfs and cause unrest amongst the villagers, but Papa Smurf was able to transform Smurfette. Well, kind of. In the comic, he makes her traditionally beautiful, but then the Smurfs start to fight over her, and then they put her on trial for being too seductive, and then she leaves the village. In the cartoon version, it's basically the same story, but Smurfette confesses her evil origins, and then she stays at the village as a main character. During my research, it was stated by multiple sources that Smurfette was included in the Smurfs cartoon as a main character in order to sell toys to little girls. There's also this theory that she was included to dismiss any speculation that the Smurfs might be gay, which is kind of... That being said...
That's... Okay, as she said before, she was invented in 1966. The Hanna-Barbera said, hey, we could sell toys. Let's make let's put her in the story. It's like, you're going to do that anyway. You're going to make toys of the Smurfs anyway.
That's like bitching about them being pragmatic. They're like, okay, we know these Smurfs that are, annoying. We're not going to sell toys to them. Why not sell toys of a character they would like?
They're still going to sell toys. That's their whole business model. They have to make money. It's like, oh, they did it to sell toys. No kidding. Wow.
Yeah, you don't fucking say it's the 80s. Of course they did.
And the worst part is this shit still goes on today, because does anyone know the show Generator Rex?
I've seen it.
Or wait, not Generator Rex, Symbiotic Titan.
Canceled after the first season because they didn't sell toys.
Exactly.
And he was one of the best shows to come out in the last decade and a half.
They need this shit to sell.
So they take the source material, they say, hey, let's adapt it to a cartoon. We're just going off the original author. We're not inventing any shit. We're just doing it. And it was successful. Wow. Amazing. They said, hey.
I'm surprised Netflix hasn't taken a crack at Symbiotic Titan yet.
Oh, really?
Oh, please don't let Netflix.
Are you sure about that?
Well, pre-woke Symbiotic Titan. And a pre-woke Netflix.
Please don't let Netflix grab it, please. Too many have landed in the grave because of that shitty service now.
Let's continue.
Wait for the HBO Max then?
Maybe.
Her existing for merchandise purposes makes much more sense, considering that she was one of the most popular characters when it came to toys from the show.
And it was the 80s.
As far as Smurfette's character goes, she was essentially defined by her gender. She's a girl in a village of guys. That's her personality trait. There's Clumsy Smurf, there's Grouchy Smurf, there's Hefty Smurf, there's Vanity Smurf, there's Twitch Affiliate Smurf. A bunch of guys defined by their personality or hobbies.
Oh, yeah,
but Smurfette, well, you see...
Well, fuck you and your joke.
She's the girl.
Yeah, she's attractive Smurf.
Oh, she's a girl. What's your personality then?
Yeah. What's wrong with having a cartoon to be attractive? And everyone in the plot is like, oh, wow, she's attractive. I want to be with her. Which is...
Oh, sorry.
Which is in the story originally. That was the point. Like, they're just adapting the comic to the cartoon. You're like, yeah, we'll use her exactly the way she was used in the story. Great. So?
I think it actually shoots her point in the foot when you consider that there's another female Smurf, the sassette with the pigtails.
Right. There's multiple female. This is the problem with the trope, because even if you go to TV Tropes, it'll tell you, obviously, in 1985, they added new Smurfs, and they were female. And she didn't bother. I don't know. Maybe she didn't bother to read TV Tropes or didn't care to. And just, this changes my narrative. I can't mention this.
Well, let's see if she mentions sassette at some point.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I have a feeling she won't.
Was her... I gotta give props to the 2017 Smurfs movie from Sony, though. They took the original concept of Smurfette and really drilled into it. They acknowledge that Smurfette is the only girl in the village, but who is she?
Bullshit.
What is she like? What is she about?
Girl.
Everybody else has their adjective attached to Smurf, but what about Smurfette? Compared to the other Smurf movies, this one is god tier, and does so much more with its story and characters, which I take that as a sign of progress. Next,
wait. Okay, so it could be a good story. I have no idea, but to say it's progress because they gave character to Smurfs is like, that's fine. But is that what the Smurfs is about? I don't remember much about their character in the first place. aside from being like a version of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. They have like, sleepy and sneezy and blah, blah, blah. That was all they really were to me as a kid. And I wasn't expecting some grand narrative from these tiny little creatures that were fighting some evil wizard and its cat. It doesn't,
of course you don't. Of course you don't. It's 80s animation.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be anything more than that. There's no need for that. It's for kids. You don't want, this clumsy Smurf is, he's got a broken leg and that's why he's clumsy and he got that fighting off of the cat and saving his friends and he's a war veteran. It's like, no, just leave him alone. He's just a clumsy kid.
Yeah, but then the 90s came along and made animation that was more than it should have been.
Yeah, well. Ugh.
We have the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon. Just like the Smurfs, TMNT was also based on a comic, but eventually got a cartoon adaptation in 1987, plus a bunch more since then. The main characters of the show include Leonardo, Raphael.
Yeah, so if you don't know the actual TMNT comic, it's much more dark than the cute.
Way more violent.
Yeah.
The Mirage days, yes.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Pretty sure they hand Shredder a sword and tell him, "Hey, in order to redeem yourself, commit seppuku."
Yeah. No, it was really cool. Like, you read.
No, I think they in the original comics. I think at the end of issue 1, they just drop him off a building.
No, he got knocked off. What's called? After being told to kill himself, he basically went, "You know what? I will, but I'm going to take you out with a grenade." Then
Turtles Forever. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Little Shredder becomes a little shredded because he's shredding the pieces.
Yeah, and then Turtles Forever kind of semi-referenced that by having him get knocked off the building, like I said.
Anyway, it's a cool comic for young adults or young boys, and the cartoon we got was much more goofy and child-oriented. So,
isn't it wouldn't it like shoot her point in the foot? Because April, I think, was the only adult in comparison to the main characters outside of Splinter.
Well, I don't see what the problem is with April O'Neil's character, aside from being a supporting role, and she gets captured and she investigates crimes and she, finds the Foot clan. They always capture. So it's like, that's fine. I see nothing wrong with that plot device. Does she have to be anything more? She could. I know.
Sorry.
They played a bit with that in the movie, the live action movies, but even then it was not that big a deal. It was never.
I just got a question about why the need to. Would it do anything to make any of the female characters more action oriented? Wouldn't it be better just to make them, a better role model by having them avoid action and just taking a non-violent way like April does to bring down the bad guys by journalism or whatever?
It really depends it really depends on the character and what tools they bring to the table. If April was like a martial artist or something and she could hold her own to a degree but she's not as good as, the Foot or the Turtles, then it'd be like, oh, she's strong. She's one of those, crazy journalists that go in, enemy lines and bring harm to herself because she thinks she can take care of herself. And then she realizes, no way, this city's way too strong or way too deadly. I need help. The police aren't helping me. And all of a sudden she finds luck with these mutated creatures or whatever. So you could do that and you could add more to her character, but then you'd be taking away from the title characters, which are a bunch of ninjas who happen to be reptiles or amphibians or whatever. So it's like, do you want to do that? You can, but then you're destroying your own story. Why would you do that? You want to have cool fights with crazy looking monsters in a cityscape that know kung fu and ninjutsu and stuff. That's what you came here. You didn't come here for a reporter like, brandishing her microphone like a lariat or something and, kung fuing punching people. She's just the reporter chick. It could be the reporter guy. It doesn't really matter.
Vitello, Michelangelo, Master Splinter, Shredder, Krang, Bebop, Rocksteady, and of course, April O'Neil. April is a news reporter who knows the TMNT personally and is one of their few human friends. She's a kind, strong, independent woman who is constantly on the hunt for a good news story, which typically ended with her getting in trouble and needing
Is
the help
someone running
of the
away from the police?
I thought we were watching that.
No, there's a fire truck.
I thought that was. I thought that was the bullshit police coming in to take
Sorry,
away.
I'll mute myself. Give me a second. What the heck is going on?
Okay. I think we're okay, guys.
The feds are coming for you.
Well, hopefully it's not the FBI.
Just my freaking luck.
All right.
What the heck is going on? I don't see no fire around here.
Could be a drill. Could be a normal drill.
yet.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, let's keep going.
Worst time for a drill.
It's interesting, because I wouldn't call April a bad character by any means, but she definitely played the role of the damsel in distress and was essentially
That's another trope, honey. I don't care. Talk about the Smurfette trope, please.
advice for the TMNT. Yes, she was smart and resourceful, which are admirable traits in a character, but there's no denying that April's original purpose was to spur the TMNT into action. But hey, credit where credit is due. Other successor generations of TMNT would improve April's character, and she would eventually become an important member of the TMNT. Other TMNT series, such as 2003, 2012, and Rise of the TMNT, would also introduce more female characters to explore in their world. By the way, Rise of the TMNT is gorgeous, and y'all should check it out. And finally, there's the original
she left out
Star
Irma.
Wars. A movie trilogy that fundamentally changed the world of cinema and merchandising. It's actually kind of insane
TMNT
how much
cartoons.
Star Wars revolutionized.
Did you say something?
Oh, I was just saying she left out a character from the TMNT cartoon there. What's it called? She left the nerdy girl out, Irma.
Oh,
Well, it was convenient for her to leave it out.
yeah. You can't have more than one female in these stories, or else it'll break the entire video she's trying to make.
To be
Her
fair,
mind
to
would
be
collapse
fair,
on itself.
Oh,
To
right,
be
I
fair-
forgot.
Let's be fair, she probably forgot it, but still, it's still shitty.
Even
It's
though-
still,
Still should leave it out.
Even though she totally loved that one cartoon because it was so good. Oh yeah, there's more than one girl in that story. Okay, great. Thanks. Anyway, here's the Copper Owl. Thanks, Copper Owl, for the $1.11. I could vaguely remember there being a thing where a girl was the main focus and she had a supporting cast of 5 guys. I think it was a meme too, but I can't remember. It's also easier to write guys because women tend to be crazy and come up with dumb tropes. Oh.
Aww.
Oof.
You know, there could be a story about a bunch of women in a military college, probably not from Western animators in the 80s, but I've seen a bunch of those in anime. So to reference anime as a media or a medium for these patterns is silly. And
Well,
she's doing that only with Western media, which is fair. But this is like the 80s, where we barely had any anime and manga. And then we go, oh, wow, you could do this. You can do anything with manga. If you have a buyer, of course. Okay.
I still have to wonder why, April O'Neil being like a how her having more combat abilities made her better. I don't know if that's what she's saying. If she's not saying that, I apologize.
Right. That was kind of the point I was making, is that if you made April be more, capable or more physical, you would be taking away from the turtles unless she's training with them. So the turtles are now the teachers to keep her alive because, oh, geez, you're always getting captured. Why don't you learn some self-defense?
That's what it looked like, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you do learn self-defense, it's not like it's going to do jack shit.
Well, when you're
She
fighting...
didn't train with them in 2003, and she was still good enough to stand on her own.
Right. And that's kind of the point. You want the turtles, like you want Spider-Man to be the focus of the story. You don't want these side characters who, let's say the Transformers, right? Imagine you're watching the Transformers, and I can't remember the guy's name, who's always a friends with Bumblebee, and he has, I don't know, a gun that just annihilates all the villains. Like, he just blows them away. You'd be like, whoa, that's pretty wild. But then you're not watching a story about a capable human. That's not why you're there. So it would screw up the whole story.
I just thought of something, because I remember one guy talking about how this Transformers anime had like human side characters with them, and apparently they were like the weakest part of the show. But the only one that they liked, that the fan base liked generally, was Starscream's partner, who was a female, and yeah.
What show?
It was the Transformers anime where Starscream was actually pretty cool.
Armada.
Armada, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say, excuse you, Unicron trilogy. Check your privilege.
Check your.
I will say, and I honestly, I will say this right now. It is, at least in my opinion, that the Unicron trilogy is the peak of Transformers, without a doubt.
I think Transformers animated and Prime are also pretty cool as well.
I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying that the Unicron trilogy is what put. I'm just saying that the Unicron trilogy is what put the quality of the product in the forefront.
Oh boy, I see a police car heading where that fire truck is. Something tells me something happened.
FBI, open up.
Oh my gosh. FBI, this video is shit. We need to delete it.
Yeah.
All right. Star Wars, here we go.
It's set many precedents that most studios and companies have been following ever since. Prior to A New Hope in 1977, licensing rights of movies were seen as an afterthought, but Star Wars changed all of that.
Don't care.
People went nuts over Star Wars merch.
Don't
and
care.
caught studios and toy companies completely by surprise. So, like with all popular trends, companies start to ask questions. Why was this particular thing successful? What did it do right? And how can we copy it?
It was good. That's all you need to know.
How do you copy it? Oh, how do you copy it? Oh, that's the short answer. You don't. You can never copy the good quality.
I mean, then again, even George Lucas doesn't entirely accept that the original trilogy was good either. So,
well, to be fair, sometimes you can copy it and it actually becomes better than the original.
Examples?
I'm trying to think.
Scarface.
I had something in my mind.
I would argue the evolution of RPGs at Squaresoft. They sort of borrow from their own, like the active time battle system, and they get the writer from this or that. You know, it gets better and better, so they're copying themselves. And then you have like Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI, which are like
Final Fantasy VI is like miles better than like the first one. Jesus,
right?
I don't know if it's better, but Bayonetta definitely borrowed a lot from Devil May Cry, partially because Kamiya created both franchises. I wouldn't say it's better. I'd say they're on an equal playing field. Dante won Death Battle, by the way. I'm happy for that. But
oh my god, a friend of mine was so pissed off because of that one.
Well, but the point is, like, Bayonetta borrowed a lot from DMC, and it was still able to stand on its own. And it is damn good.
And you're talking about a inspiration that started all with the survival horror genre. They were making the next Resident Evil, and they just sped up the frame rate.
4.
Was it 4? They sped up the frame rate accidentally. They said, hey, well, this is really fun. And then they said, hey, how do we do that? And also, the creator, was it Beautiful Joe that was inspired?
It was it was Kamiya.
Yeah, so there were these, all these things started clicking, and they're like, oh, we can make a whole game out of this concept.
Well, a bit of a fact check here. Part of it was the frame rate thing that they just sped it up, and it had a different feeling. It was mainly because it was going too far into action.
Right.
And Kamiya and Shinji Mikami decided to convince Capcom to spin it off into Devil May Cry. But it still has. But even to this day, even all the way up to DMC5, there's still plenty of similarity to the Resident Evil series. Not the least of which being that the shotgun is always Dante's second weapon, with no exceptions.
Oh, right. I just remembered something.
Second gun specifically.
Does anyone know that Lion King? It took pretty much copy from Kimba or something.
Well, it depends who you ask. It depends who you ask. If you're talking about
yes, they absolutely did. But Japan didn't. With the Japanese studio didn't sue because it was Disney, and even back then they still had a lot of influence.
It's gonna make us fucking watch Kimba.
There is a video, a few videos actually on YouTube saying it's not a copyright. Other people you ask in Europe during the 70s will say it is because Kimba came first or whatever. So just watch the video, make your own decision.
Well, whichever one came first, I think it kind of can help my point that the second one, because I've heard Kimba was better than the Lion King, or Lion King getting like a massive boom in popularity after that.
Well, like those two are like complete different beasts. Like the only thing similar between them is that like Africa sang, and that like it's like the prince is returning to the place itself.
Well,
Remember who you are.
Wait a minute, I just realized.
But Kimba's purpose is entirely different from Simba's.
I just realized the Lion King's just a copy of Macbeth, I think.
No, that's just
That's a coincidence.
Yeah, because remember when Simba went to the World's Fair? Oh, I remember that in Lion King.
I do remember that they actually got that. You guys know Honest Trailers? They did an Honest trailer on Lion King, and for the commentary on the Lion King one, they actually got the director of the Lion King, and he confirmed, that the Macbeth thing is just a coincidence.
Well, it's still pretty much a good copy of it, and it still is like an improvement of Macbeth, if you ask some people.
Indirectly, but yes.
Well,
yeah, that would probably help my point, I guess, a little bit.
It's no different than, say, King Lear as well, or Hamlet's, where you have a usurper. They want power. You can go anywhere with themes saying, "Oh, it's like that. It's like this." So
yeah, but Lion King's issue is that they make it incredibly fucking obvious with Scar, though.
Sure, but
he doesn't even. Pretty sure the Scar for the Kimba thing isn't even in it for the most part.
Yeah.
I can make the argument for Othello too. Like, it's the same. Like, if someone wants power, how do they get it? They go around, they attack him for head off. They trick him. They're greedy. They want more. Like, it's like, sure, okay.
Yeah, that is just a general, like, usurper wants power, he betrays the kingdom shit.
All right. Here is Kyogre Hideout. Thank you, sir, for being a member.
Kyogre, come on.
Kyogre? I can't. He's crazy Japanese term. 2003 Tmnt is the peak of the franchise, in my opinion, and Prime is peak for Transformers. Okay, fair enough.
I will still argue Unicron trilogy for Transformers. But I'm not saying that Prime is bad. It is a fantastic show.
I wasn't implying it.
I'm talking to Kyogre's Hideout. It's like, I will never deny that Prime is a fantastic show. I'm just a bit partial to Unicron trilogy because it has that build up to the end.
Well,
even though the third part is a different show that they slapped on there.
We could always have.
Sorry.
We could always have a criteria if you want to talk to anyone and bring your lists as to why, and see if you have apples to apples. That'd be great.
Maybe a Transformers debate stream, I guess.
Yeah, that'd be fine. I mean, it's all about the fans knowing what they're talking about. So if everyone has watched everything, I think that's pretty fair. And
yes, absolutely.
Bring your because I would hate to have like you just watch the one trilogy and everyone else is like, what's that about? So yeah, if you both people know this with your source material. You could have your different criteria. We compare why. That'd be fine. Okay.
I'm not going to speak for Kyogre's Hideout. Absolutely not. No. But it's like I've at least experienced a little bit of everything. All I'd really have to do is refresh my memory with a lot of it. That's all I really need to do.
Yeah.
I do want to say that 2003 TMNT is pretty good, and there's one episode from that made me tear up completely. Does anyone know the character Nano?
Oh,
I love that character.
Oh
Jesus
my
Christ.
gosh!
Jesus Christ, his first appearance. It's sad as hell.
That first episode with him was tragic, and the
They
father was...
drop him in. He gets dropped into like what's called the incinerator, like the waste dump, and it's like Jesus.
And the fact that he was talking in like a child voice,
he wanted a family. He just wanted a family.
And the father.
He came back.
Yeah, but the father of that episode was okay. In the first one, he was really feeling bad about Nano's death. I can't believe they made him like more of an asshole in the second one, though.
I did not like that part. I did not. I would have found it better if they kept the detail of him still caring.
Oh yeah. On the flip side, we then had an episode in season 4 of 2003 TMNT with all I'm gonna say, Zombie Stockman.
Oh Jesus.
Okay. Anyway, let's keep going. The Copper Owl, thanks for the 11 again. There's a guy in my town legally named Megatron, and I took a delivery to him and talked to him in my Starscream voice. Also, that girl thing was live action, and I think the meme was about her sitting on a couch.
Girl thing?
Oh, it better not be that freaking stupid meme.
Girl thing?
The thing where it's like the 4 black guys and the 1 lady there.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Please don't let that be what they was referring to.
Anyway.
Oh man. Moving on.
Surveys.
Moving on.
The impact of Star Wars and all the things it changed in culture and the media can be its own video. But as far as the Smurfette principle goes, Star Wars proved the potency of including a lone girl in a cast of male characters. Han, Luke, Chewie, Darth Vader, R2, C-3PO, and Leia. A bunch of stuff to sell to the boys, but also something to sell to the girls. For the record, I'm not saying that boys only like boy characters and girls only like girl characters, but that this format definitely proved its potential when it comes to appealing to certain demographics, especially the ones who want to buy merchandise.
Hey.
That doesn't mean that it's still irrelevant to Star Wars, though, because that's not the main focus.
How could you fit in like a main female character into Star Wars with all the characters we already have? Seriously.
What's the point, though? Like, what's the argument? It works, therefore what?
Yeah,
and even then,
Princess Leia herself is like carrying like so much on the plot already. Like she's like perfect character as she is.
And even then, we got more female characters later down the road. Ahsoka, Bastila. Name off any others.
Oh dear God, I love Ahsoka. Let's see.
Clone Wars had Padme, not the one from the movies, the one from the show.
Oh, wasn't there also
Ventress? Yeah.
Wasn't there also a few other female Jedi as well?
Yeah,
just
plenty.
Yeah, Bastila.
Yeah,
among others.
In the extended universe, they added like some characterization to some of these female Jedi. I mean,
Kreia as well.
Oh God, yeah, she's the best.
I have a feeling they're gonna screw Bastila over big time in the Knights of the Old Republic remake.
This is the thing. Kreia I don't even think of her as a female. It didn't even cross my mind as I'm thinking listing female characters in Star Wars. Like, well, who cares? And then
she's basically like the best character.
Yeah, she's the best character out of the entire stories. And it didn't even click in my mind. Oh yeah, she's female. Her femininity has nothing to do with the story. Zero. No one cares about how she's an old woman. Like, nothing. She's an awesome character. That's why we love her. Like, this whole mentality is just broken. And she just said, "Hey, this Smurfette principle works for Star Wars." I'm like, and is that good or bad? Why? Tell me how.
Because the marketing for the toys, they had like only one Princess Leia toy initially. Okay. Oh my God, what an argument you have. So like, not even attacking that the show itself.
Screw the toys, then. The success of the toys is just an extension of how good the movies are.
Well, yeah, but you got to remember they had the bikini toy where she was chained up, Princess Leia slave color or whatever it was. So they had, as the movies came out, they had different versions of each character. They just sold more toys. Great, fantastic. And you know what? People loved her because she was a sexual character at the time for a lot of people growing up. And even what's her face got fan mail. Or people, telling her you were my sexual awakening when I was 11 or whatever. Like, yeah, good for boys being boys.
What the fuck?
Yeah, good for them. Star Wars is many things to many people. It's.
I mean, to Carrie Fisher's credit, rest in peace. It's like she did eventually end up playing into the joke with that, and it was hella funny.
Yeah, good for her. There's nothing wrong with this format. I don't see this being an issue, nor was the character of Leia sexualized or made redundant or useless. She was a princess of an entire people that were wiped out, and she was leading the rebellion. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Anyway.
Yeah, and her turning her into a Jedi and like the backstory for the sequels, that kind of took away from that.
Well, that's the same argument with April O'Neil. Only in this case, we never saw her fight once with the fucking lightsaber.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean, though. At least April was able to prove herself when the situation called for it.
Yeah.
My friend's dad was talking about how there wasn't a women Jedi. That's lame. And I was like, there is female Jedi.
There are female Jedi. They just came in later.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are damn good characters.
Yeah, and why would you fault George Lucas for changing the formula within the original trilogy? That'd be dumb. It's like, hey, let's make a cast of females. You're like, why? Why would you do that? That would be silly.
Especially that early on.
When it's a gigantic worldwide phenomenon, let's change the form. Let's make more robots. It's like, no, you don't have to do that. It's working.
I mean, he kind of changed. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it kind of helped that he did change the formula somewhat in Empire, with the heroes losing at the end of the second part, so that they can have that triumphant return in the third part.
Oh yeah, that is a whole other thing. That's nothing to do with the Smurfette principle. But yeah, no, he did switch things up for sure.
I do want to ask,
and it absolutely paid off.
About 3PO and R2D2.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they be more like neither male or female since they're freaking robots?
Yeah.
I mean, no one's arguing that.
I know, but wouldn't that like just make the point weaker? I think.
In a way, yeah. I can see where you're coming from with that. Yeah.
I know what I want to say. I just have a hard time saying it.
Yeah, it's like the fact that like asexual automatons are also part of the group, and also Chewie, well, which we've initially, well, yeah, he's male too, but he's not even human, and neither are the robots. So yeah, if you just broaden the perspective on that point, it's like, yeah, the point is made moot anyway, regardless.
Okay.
Yes, hi, Sabi. Sorry. Hold on 1 second. Just wanted to say real fast that I had like a ton of Star Wars toys when I was a kid, and I could not get enough of it. Action figures, video games, clothes, figurines. It was a big part of my kid life. In my opinion, I think Star Wars proved to companies and studios that having a cast of mostly guy characters, but having a lone girl character can be effective at appealing to a larger demographic of kids to sell toys to.
No,
G.I. Joe, Transformers.
That was not the point.
That's not the point.
Toys. That was not the point of the initial toys for the first movie.
All they're saying is this formula worked, and they're not ascribing a cause. It's okay. When you do correlations, you say, okay, why did this work? Like, why did this outcome happen? You look at all the events, and you try to connect them, make a correlation. All he's saying is, hey, there was only one main character who was female. It obviously worked. It's like that has nothing to do with selling toys.
No, not in this case.
Why can't people just attribute the freaking toy sales to, I like this character?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I like this character. The character was amazing in this movie, TV show, whatever.
I like
them.
The design of Darth Vader. I like the design of Leia's slave outfit. I like the design of the Wampa. I like yeah, you buy it. It's cool. You like the figurine.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I like the was it the slave girls, the green and pink and whatever, all the various colors, the orange.
It is definitely a lot simpler than how it is being, put out here in the video.
Yeah.
Man, a lot of them did this. And I believe that it's due to the change in media that Star Wars created back in the day.
You done?
No, I can keep going. So, when it comes to...
So there's no doubt that quite a few movies and shows fall under the Smurfette principle. But it begs the question, is the Smurfette principle an effective way to measure the representation of women in media?
Did we just watch a guy die?
Wait, okay. This is not why we have tropes. Okay? We don't say, is this trope effective at measuring something? It's like, it's a pattern. That's it. It doesn't measure it. It's like, do we have Mary Sue's to measure how powerful female characters are? It's like, no, that's bad. You don't do that. It's dumb. That's bad writing. No one said...
I only have like one main female character in my story that I write, and I think I'm just gonna double down. I'm just gonna like keep it that way. In fact, like she's gonna be the only female character in the entire story.
Yeah, this is so like, take any genre. I'll use isekai harem again. So you have one guy, or, you have like 6 chicks, right? Is that an effective way of storytelling for women? Do they get their moment to shine? It's like, I don't know. Does a story allow that? Did the character or did the writers or writer create the character that way, where each chapter has a focus of the backstory of one of the females? If so, then yes. If not, then it's a bad, boring story, which has nothing to do with the Smurfette principle, because it's about a fantasy story of a guy going to an alternate world where he's super strong and everyone loves him, and that happens to be chicks. And some of them are daughter figures, some of them are mother figures, some of them are girlfriend figures. All get the gamut of women. That's a fantasy, okay? That's the nature of the genre or the subgenres. That's fine. There's nothing to do with characterization or development or backstory or plotting or whatever. Nothing. Numbers or ratios between men and women have nothing to do with storytelling outside of a setting, like an all-girls team or an organization that does that, segregation between males and females, like the Amazons. Like, if you would see a male in an Amazon story, you'd be like, what the no, it's wrong. Wouldn't make any sense. There has to be some exception why this male is allowed in the Amazon city or whatever. So,
to be fair, from what I read about something, some of this stuff they had to trinkle in female characters, I think, or something along the lines of that. But even then, it's still a stupid point. So, from what I read, I don't know exactly if it's true or if it's effective, about how in the bad guys' books they had to trinkle in female characters one at a time or whatever, because all the main bad guys were male. Instead of one of the bad guys' main 5 became a female in the film.
Yeah, this is funny because I finished watching season 2 of Picard, and if you don't know, this is my own theory. Everything in the show is to be like girl power or female empowerment. And I remember the episode 8 where they hire these mercenaries, and you see them in the background. There's like 2 guys and there's like 8 girls in the back, like mercenaries. You're like, really? Female mercenaries? Like, okay. And then the next episode, they use these mercenaries. Suddenly, all the women have disappeared. It's all male mercenaries getting shot at and killed and whatever. You're like, what the hell? Where are all these awesome chicks who are Borgified with like automatic rifles? Like, nope, they don't exist anymore. So, and there's of course plenty of scenes where the women are just awesome. They take 2 girls take on an army of 12 dudes with assault rifles in the dark, and they beat them with a corkscrew and a ice pick. It's dumb. It's dumb shit. And
how chivalrous of the male anime characters taking the female's place of getting shot at.
Yeah, I know. And getting killed by them. Anyway. There's a lot of stupid shit in entertainment these days, and it's pretty obvious.
Especially in Picard.
Oh, I have to take so many breaks doing this thing. My next video, I'm just like, oh.
You decide you don't go nuts.
Yeah,
from all the stupid.
And I miss things, and sometimes I miss things purposely because I know that the route it goes on is just not only nitpicking, but it's just so stupid. A series of questions that just keep like, if she did this, why did she just do that instead? And if she could do that, then why did this whole scenario happen? And that's pretty much the plot of Picard. The first episode would make so much sense if she just said one thing and none of this shit would have happened. It's that stupid. And I can't, like, once you realize that, you're like, oh my God, these writers are hacks. Anyway, let us continue.
Does it actual water, or is it just a harmless coincidence? To me, the answer is both yes and no. Allow me to explain. When Katha first wrote her article,
such a cop-out, yes.
It came at a time when cartoons were very much so skewed towards boys, and options for girls around that time were limited. And
she didn't actually watch them. Like, that's like one of the main points.
The girls that I knew from school watched the same stuff I did, because that was what was on TV. And they didn't watch as much, but they did watch them, so they knew of them. Like, I remember watching Strawberry Shortcake. Was it Shortbread? I can't remember the name.
Yeah, you got it right.
I got it right? Okay, cool. Yeah.
Shortcake, yeah.
Like I remember watching that. I don't remember what the hell it was about, but I remember watching it, so.
I'm guessing Fairy Pixie Sprite.
It was magical.
That was the old My Little Pony. That was just like not much was happening.
Yeah, that was kind of.
What the hell is Strawberry Shortcake?
You don't want to know.
It's hard to describe, as I don't remember it. But yeah, you see it, the designs, you're like, oh yeah, I remember watching that. Anyway.
Actually, it's rumored that some of these boy shows from the 80s and 90s included a lone girl character, so it can give little sisters something to relate to while their brothers watched cartoons.
Not necessarily. That's interesting, but not really, no. It's because they want to have those characters in the story. It's more believable to have a girl duck or a girl pony or a girl this or that. That's... writers are like, hey, how do these... people exist. Oh, there's females. Oh, yeah, okay, let's do a female character. Why not? Are they going to be as strong as the boys? Maybe. Chitara can run really fast. She's got a bow. It's really cool. Wily Kit and Wily Cat, they play little pranks. They're pretty much the same. Yeah, no, it's pretty standard stuff. Kids, girls, they're not as strong, so they're smarter or faster, or they use their ingenuity. That's that.
Again, that's just a rumor. But Katha's observation that these girl characters are defined by being girls, that they only exist to serve guys, well, she has a point.
As what? As sex objects? As attractive characters? Women are attractive characters. So are male characters. What's your point? What is the point of a female character in a cartoon geared for kids? To teach them about morals, like how to treat people, whether it's a man or a woman or a girl or a boy or a child or the elderly. That's pretty much in almost all the cartoons you watch. How to treat people, how to behave. Now, North America does a bunch of crap with making sure at the end of every episode, if there's no moral, you had to have you had to invent a moral. Like with Sailor Says at the end of Sailor Moon, they had to do that because some standard.
That was. I'd rather have that. I'd rather have that than most of the garbage on Steven Universe, though.
Right, and compare that.
You got a point.
Compare that to was it Sonic had those crazy PSA?
Sonic Says, yes.
That was insane. That was absolute bonkers. So this is all just programming. What's the mothers and parents of these kids are like, oh, you got to teach them this or that. They can't just fight aliens and call it a day. It's like, no, you got to relate it.
They need a message.
Yeah, exactly. It can't just be fun. It has to be like, be nice to your grandmother.
And knowing is half the battle.
Well, that was built into G.I. Joe. That was awesome.
Thought of something. Wasn't something like Captain Planet also a good example of not the Smurfette principle? Because there's like two female characters that had like better powers or whatever.
The one was
because one guy's got stuck with the power of heart.
Yeah, was he the Ecuadorian or who was he the?
Oh my teeth.
Was he Spanish? I can't remember where he came from. I could hear the feelings of other animals. It's like what? What? Okay. Whereas the Russian chick controlled wind. Like holy crap, he just destroyed people with that thing.
Yeah.
I control air pressure. Like, holy shit.
One dude controls fire, like, bam,
Yeah.
fire, boom.
Yeah. It was a crazy show. Like, that was pretty much a walking PSA. Yeah.
It was effective, though.
What was the principle of having 2 girls on the Captain Planet show effective at teaching kids not to pollute? You're like, what? I have no idea.
Anyone remember the dumb overpopulate episode? The one where Ted just, what's called the creator of the show is basically, I got 4 kids. Meanwhile, I'm going to tell you not to have that many kids.
Was that what they went to China? I can't remember.
Wait, no, it was, they did something like that, but it was dumb.
I'll be right back.
All right, let's keep going.
And an alarming amount of movies and shows are guilty of that. There's actually another measurement that's similar to the Smurfette principle, and it's called the Bechdel test.
Oh my! No! This is okay.
Bechdel test.
I was making a joke about this before the stream. Okay, we don't have tropes to start gauging things. And I said the Bechdel test was this stupid thing that 2 women invented. If 2 women are talking about a guy in a movie, and if there's a 4-point system, and are they talking about him? Do they want him? Are they focused only about him? Blah, blah, blah. Then, women aren't being represented properly. They don't have their individual characters. They have no agency when they shouldn't have any agency in the first place because the story is not about them. Unless it's a romance. And then you want them to talk about the male character because that's the point. It's a love triangle or a square or whatever. So this is shifting.
Can someone remind me what the heck the Bechdel test is again?
Well, she's going to explain it to you. Here we go.
Pass this test, your movie must have more than 2 female characters who have at least one conversation with each other that isn't about the male characters.
Oh my god!
Just like the Smurfette principle, there's a shocking amount of movies and shows that fall under this criteria.
So if you have 2 female characters in any story and they talk about a guy, it's sexist. Or something. Or the women aren't giving enough agency.
But what about if the 2 male characters talk about a girl that's not sexist?
Yeah, no. That never happens in stories, guys. You can't have 2 guys talk about a girl. It never happens. This is so stupid. I thought there was a simple trope. No, let's go to the Bechdel test. Like, no, you idiot. You feeble-minded twit. This is stupid shit. No one talks about this crap. Oh, this is... Okay, the reason why there's 1 million views is a bunch of feminists watch this crap. That's the only way.
I think it's because this channel used to like cover all kinds of animated crap, so he collected enough audience by this time.
Yeah.
And he's like one of the top like animation channels, so like yeah. Why wouldn't they like check out this garbage now?
Absolute trash.
Yeah, like sarcastic production or whatever that channel's name is.
All right. Okay.
Sarcastic chorus?
Anyway, it doesn't matter. Let's go.
Hell, even my favorite movies of all time, The Lord of the Rings, do not pass the Bechdel test. Arwen and Eowyn and Galadriel never talk to each other. They only...
Oh my god, it's so bad. Why can't the girls talk to each other?
Oh, I'm sorry that they're not the main characters, you dimwit.
Maybe one of them is... Yeah, one of them is a female goddess creature who's like immortal and has other shit to do. Another one's a warrior human.
They are like different races as well. Like, what are you talking about? This is
retarded. You know what? The male characters from like Elrond doesn't talk to Merry and Pippin at all. Or
not at all.
Or who's it? Tom Bombadil. Why doesn't Elrond talk to Tom Bombadil? Like, what's wrong? Like, what? 2 guys, they're gods. They're so powerful. Why can't they? It's like, what? No, stop it. That's stupid.
There's also Tom Bombadil's wife.
Yeah, why didn't Tom Bombadil's wife go bitch slap Saruman? She's super
That
powerful.
would have made the movie so much better.
Yeah, it would, yeah. She's like, I'm tired of this freaking forest, Tom. It's like, honey, get out of my place. She storms off to freaking Mordor. Oh, God.
Top characters. So does that make Lord of the Rings inherently sexist? Well, I wouldn't say so. Hell, Galadriel is one of the most powerful beings in Middle-earth and commands the respect of other male characters, while Éowyn straight up kills the unbeatable Witch King. These are well-written female characters who do more than just drool over boys. But then you have something like James Cameron's Avatar, where you have two female characters, but whenever they do talk, it's about boys. Now, I bring up...
So you're saying a tribal group of people trying to survive wouldn't have a conversation about who they're with or who they're mating for or who they like, so there's no infighting and everyone knows who's who for what. And I don't know, it seems kind of like a normal, everyday thing to do.
But that guy being there is like the plot itself. If they don't talk about it, then we don't have anything to talk about in the movie. Like the outsider being there with the human colonists are pretty much the story itself. If they wouldn't be there, like there was nothing happening in Avatar.
You know what? Where I would really like to see some female characters talk about the main character? Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Of course.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I've never seen Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Does the end of Evangelion pass the Bechdel test?
I don't think it passes the humanity test. I think it sort of fails.
They do, because like there's like the assistant woman and like the blonde hair chick.
Ritsuko,
yeah. They have like one or two lines together, and it's not about men, but it's like about that like they're gonna get attacked.
Yeah. Well, Ritsuko did. She did.
Wait, does Asuka count?
Yeah, I guess technically. I do know Ritsuko had a thing for Gendo, but I don't think she talked about that with anyone. It was just part of her own dialogue.
She kept it to herself, and like she fucking died there in the scene that like it got mentioned.
Yeah. It's just I don't care. This is dumb.
The
I mean, Shinji
because...
is also there, so like that is kind of female character.
The less we talk about Shinji, the better.
Yeah, this is true.
This entire Smurfette principle thing is dumb, to be honest.
As a trope, it should be automatically neutral, and all it says is there's a ratio between men and women. The ratio is always whatever to one, and that's fine. And she's saying, is that a good expression of whatever? And you're like, who cares? Why does it have to be a good expression of anything, or measurement or barometer of anything? Like, maybe it is, but that's not how people write, and that's not how people care about the story. They don't say, "Oh, look at all these guys." When you're playing Gears of War, where are all the women cogs? Like, where are they? It's like, well, when you get to 3, there's some, but who cares? Like, is that a problem for anyone? I don't think so. It's not a complaint.
It's only a problem. It's only a problem when people want perfect symmetry between sexes, I guess. Like, Death the Kid, they want perfect symmetry, despite the fact asymmetry is notoriously a thing in art.
It is so irrelevant to have these sorts of arguments. Say, oh, you don't have enough representation of vaginas. Like, to do what? Are they making babies? Are they talking about sex? Or, like, what's the point? What we have men in the military for obvious reasons. Do you want more female in the military? Great. Give me a non-period piece, because if you go back 100 years, it's not going to happen. Give me a non-period.
Is there another freaking fire truck today? What the heck?
Someone obviously called. What happens is someone called for help, and they just send everyone.
No, don't you see Smud, the bird that was tweeting a moment ago on his window, just called another fire truck to fuck with him.
Oh.
It's fitting that there's that there's like 2 fire trucks that's in the background right now, because this video is a dumpster fire.
Well, I used to work at downtown, right next to a firehouse, whatever you call it. fire station. So we had drills happening every half an hour. It's pretty silly. Anyway, let's continue.
While it's an interesting way to measure media, I wouldn't say that it's always fair. Just because something doesn't pass the Bechdel test doesn't make it automatically sexist or bad. And I think the same can be said for the Smurfette principle. Yeah.
So maybe the Bechdel test is kind of false and irrelevant and not really effective at doing anything useful. Maybe.
It's just effective at something to bitch about, essentially.
Bunch of women. Yeah, this is all this is. The Smurfette thing, which doesn't even exist in the actual Smurfs, is some mother going, oh, there's no shows just for girls. Like, yes, there are. There's not as many as there are for boys because boys buy more toys.
That reminds me of a funny story involving my mother, actually. So I told my Nana that I watched My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, and she called my mother watching it, and I was roasting my mother about it, saying, so you're watching this show, and she told me, I thought there was some kind of porn in this show, because I have no idea why you would want to watch this.
Wow, your mom is interesting.
I guess I have interesting experiences in my life.
Yeah. Well, honestly, if there were more girls buying toys, the producers or the publishers would go, hey, we need to make more shows for girls. And they would, and they'd sell more toys, and they'd make more money, and there'd be less shows for boys. Or at least with that formula. And that's that. That's what would happen, but it didn't happen that way. Maybe it has something more to do with the nature and society of people at that time in the 80s and 90s. And even maybe today, I don't know. That's just how boys are hardwired. They like visual things. They like stuff more, whereas girls and ladies and women like people more. They like to deal with emotions more. I talk to people who read books, and older women read a lot of romance stories and war stories and stuff about relationships, whereas guys like science fiction a little bit more. They like stuff and ideas and concepts more. It's just how it's been. It's not a big deal. Maybe that'll change. Who knows? But it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother my analysis of my childhood and what I paid attention to. And playing with Legos, I like the space Lego more than I like the pirate Lego more. So, anyway.
Many of movies and shows that fall on their face when it comes to providing female characters that are more than just sidekicks. Many cartoons from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s were guilty of this. But you have to keep in mind that many of these cartoons were being created by companies who were in the toy licensing business. They didn't care about providing adequate role models for little...
They were all in the toy making business. How else would they...
Why? Okay. Again, why does one care if a guy is a guy or a girl's a girl when it comes to a role model? I mean, a role model should be a role model no matter what they got between their pants.
Yeah, think of Cobra Commander, Destro, and the Baroness. They were all evil. We don't know exactly what made them evil. They were just against the bad guy or the good guys because every time they wanted to do something, the good guys had to fight them. And they wanted to steal or...
Destro is more of a CEO of a weapons company, so...
Oh, yeah? The movie was pretty fun, but yeah, the show is pretty straightforward. It's like they want to get something or steal something, and then the G.I. Joe folks come by and stop them. Or rescue someone, or the ninjas pop up and they got to go follow the ninjas. And straightforward stuff. Good guys and bad guys.
Girls just wanted to sell products, and little boys were the most lucrative demographic to go after. I mean, G.I. Joe was practically a glorified toy commercial until the FTC told them to cut it out. But going into the early 2000s and onward...
Yeah, but G.I. Joe isn't the only example of this. Transformers and My Little Pony came later, and they were also glorified toy commercials.
Same with He-Man. Yep. She-Ra.
That too.
To be fair, since G.I. Joe was the first, it could be argued that the other ones were just trying to copy what G.I. Joe did, but still.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, why do you think the original Transformers movie is so beloved? Because it was more than just toy commercial. It was an actual good movie, which nobody expected, especially with the death of Optimus.
Yeah, no, that was at the time, I think Superman 2, 3, and 4 were coming out, or first one, and like you would watch with your dad or whoever you were with at the time, one of those shows for kids. And when Transformers came out, I was like, wow, this is an actual movie with animation, and it felt not like Star Wars, but it felt like something of that scale, but was a cartoon. And it was just a fun show for kids. It wasn't anything like as big as Star Wars, but it felt like it. Like you're going to the cinema with your mom and dad or whatever. And wow, this is wild. It felt like that. So kind of like when the first live action Tmnt came out as well. I was like, whoa, this is a real movie. And Casey Jones was a real character, and he had a plot, and he did stuff. I was expecting a side character to be in that. So they set up stuff for kids. They try to make it more mature with technology they had, the best they can. I remember freaking licensing Weird Al Yankovic music in the Star Wars movie or the Transformers movie. Like that was like, whoa, that was that was weird.
Wait, Weird Al Yankovic in a Transformers movie? What?
Yeah, Dare to Be Stupid.
Wait, in the original or the Bayformers?
No, the original.
Oh, fuck.
I'm serious.
I didn't know about this.
Well, this wasn't wouldn't be the only time Weird Al was also in the Transformers series. He was an animated voicing Wreck-Gar, I remember.
Yeah.
That was later. Let's be honest.
I know, but I wanted to point out a fun fact.
Yeah, no, at the time, because I was actually, I liked Weird Al as a kid, believe it or not. And I was like, what?
Oh, God.
That's Weird Al. Oh, my God.
I annoyed the piss out of my nana with Weird Al because I wanted to replay his songs on the radio.
Oh, yeah. I remember my dad, when he bought his new car or whatever, he had a cassette player, and I bought a cassette. And the funny thing was, like, Weird Al has a lot of songs about food, and one of them was lasagna, and he was just cracking up. So, so funny. Because, believe it or not, we're Italian, and we can relate to that song very well. Anyway, the Copper Owl, thanks for the $1.11. So, Smud, would you like me to build Lego Smud a spaceship? If so, what kind? Cobra Commander's origin is either he owns Walmart or his brother was a forgotten vet who died and he wanted revenge on America for abandoning him. Wow, I don't remember that one at all.
Wait, Cobra Commander?
Yeah.
Are we talking about the same person?
Yeah.
I feel like the Walmart CEO thing would be a lot more realistic for Cobra Commander, considering Disney CEO.
Well, I remember the experiment.
Well, for that we just pull out the corporate commander joke from Angry Joe's stuff when he's doing during his Capcom rants.
All right. Well, as a spaceship,
say what you want about Joe now, but that joke is actually pretty damn funny.
So as a spaceship, I don't know, because I always played with the black spaceship set, and it was detachable. It had all these cool wings you could fold back. Make your own. Go for it. No idea. Anyway, 16 minutes in, almost done. 6 more minutes. One more donation, and then we'll continue on. Here is Roan Harushin. Hey, Roan, how's it going? Hell, Yu-Gi-Oh's English version of the cards used in the show were heavily edited due to the focus hole toy commercial mess. If you ever wondered why they never had the attack or effects on the cards in show, it's because of this. The focus hole.
Yeah, because they on the cards in the show they only had the monster picture, the type, and the attack and defense points.
Okay.
I remember that.
I feel like it would have been a lot simpler than reading a small amount of text that probably would have been hard to draw on there.
That was the original Yu-Gi-Oh, or we're talking about the other versions of Yu-Gi-Oh?
Original.
Yeah.
Well, I think other versions of Yu-Gi-Oh also have that as well.
Oh. All right. Anyway, 6 minutes left. Here we go.
Shift. Better movies and shows that offered a broader variety of characters. I think a big reason why this change happened was the growth of the amount of content itself. The Smurfette principle came from an era of entertainment where viewers had to rely on television and its limited amount of content. Before cable, options were few and far between, so a lot of folks just settled. That meant that companies who made said content back in the day are going to focus on the most lucrative demographics and keep them happy. Needless to say, little girls weren't high on their list, especially when it came to providing them adequate role models. But things have changed.
I don't get this role model argument. I even talked to friends my age who were girls, and they never really cared about that. They said, "Why would I compare myself to whomever? That's limit. First off, that's limiting.
Second of all, wouldn't that be sexist?
Well, they could relate to like Luke and Leia and Han. Like it's not a problem. I could relate to Leia. She lost everything. This is not a problem. And this is not the thing you want to instill. You teach morals and ethics, and then you make sure that they follow those morals and ethics. Not that, Leia's a great military commander. I should, practice strategy or whatever in military college or whatever. It's like, yeah, not really. That's not how it works in the real world. People are more intelligent when they see, I'm watching a movie. Not, I should look up to Princess Leia because she's such a great character. It's like, no, we don't do that.
Well, I do want to say one of my favorite female characters that I will look up to as a role model, to be honest. She's Donna Icalusia from East 8. Let's see. She's pretty much had visions of her entire race pretty much getting wiped out. She's had stones thrown at her and blamed for pretty much every calamity that happened. She's pretty much destined to know that everything she's trying to do to save her race or species is basically not going to happen, and knows with the knowledge that all she could do is prevent the next species from dying out from the Lacrimosa. But what does she do? She continues on with a smile, doesn't let it faze her, and still perseveres in her duty to be a hero. And I honestly find that her sacrifice at the very end is just tragic and one worth aspiring because I can't get the words out.
That's okay.
What inspiration because of how much of a hero she is. I see her as probably one of my favorite heroines ever. Not just in gaming, but entirely. In fact, she's probably my top 5 heroes.
Yeah. And inspiration is fine. Aspiring to be that person is another story. That's the difference, I think.
Yeah, but she's still a good role model because she, even without the sacrifice, she still, doesn't treat anyone like garbage despite the fact she's been blamed for pretty much everything. She still does her duty, and she still is, just a sweetheart. She honestly is one of my favorite characters I can think about.
Yeah, I still don't like the concepts of role models being attributed through media. I just don't think that's one of the goals or even a focus or even a majority idea of media. It might be an inspiration, but never an aspiration. Never like, I'm going to grow up to be that guy. No one says, I'm going to grow up to be like Batman. It's like, well...
Not directly, at least, because in a case like that, they can mean, I want to be like Batman. What they actually mean is, I want to be a detective.
Someone says, I want to grow up to be Darth Vader. So
That's a different argument.
Nothing chilling there.
Yeah.
I mean, with at least certain heroes, you can attribute it. It's like they want to be like that hero. What they actually mean is they want to pursue that profession, like Batman with being a detective,
sure,
or something like that.
So,
you know,
this role model, it feels like this role model thing's the only thing that this person is just wanting to talk about. Which, honestly, it should not be the entire. Looking at someone like, how do I phrase it? It'd be sexist for just girls to only look for girl role models if we had to look at role model from TV or media, instead of looking towards anyone as heroic or inspiring. Because I can think of a few shows that have the female character pass down her stuff, or a male character pass down their stuff to the opposite sex. Like in Boku no My Hero Academia, I almost went weeb. One of the progression from the 7th to the 8th, One for All thing is Nana, she, whatever her last name is, to the All Might dude. Instead of just, from a guy to a guy, sometimes it's from guys to girls or girls to guys. You all know what I'm trying to say, right?
I think so.
I know.
Basically, guys can look at girls as role models and girls can look at guys as role models, and you shouldn't add more female characters than necessary, or more male characters than necessary, if you want to try to make more role models for only one sex, when that's just sexist entirely.
Yeah, generally I refer to role models as actual people that you aspire to be like, and they can inspire you as well. Not fictional characters in fictional settings and doing amazing things. That's more in the realm of escapism and fantasy than, I remember some friends of mine, when I was a kid, I wanted to grow up and be a Jedi. You're like, okay, yeah, I can understand that. So it was so cool. It looked so cool. But then you grow up and go, oh yeah, that's not going to happen, obviously.
Again, there's also like the more indirect meaning of sounds like that. It's like, again, in that case, it could just mean they want to be a good person and wants to help other people.
Sure.
It's what the point is. Like, it's a matter of not taking it too literally.
Right. Okay.
There's much content nowadays, almost to the point of where it feels overwhelming. There also seems to be more of an appreciation from people for girl characters who are more than just damsels in distress. Adventure Time is a great example of a cartoon that provides engaging and well-written female characters that are more than just a way to serve the male characters. And how about Mad Max? That's like one of my favorite movies ever.
Oh my
and it
God.
features multiple female characters kicking
every time I speak to a feminist person, they think Mad Max Fury Road is like the greatest thing ever.
No, not really.
I've not seen anything from Mad Max, so can someone run me down on what this crap is?
Okay, so they escape in a giant milk truck, and then they return in a giant milk truck.
Post-apocalyptic drag racing.
Yeah.
That's all I see in it.
They drive down a road and turn around. That's it. That's all. That's what happens in the story.
And also, my thing is like Mad Max of all fucking things, really.
Well, it's bombastic. There's all these crazy action shots and jumps off cliffs, and that's fun. There's a guy chained to a front of a car with a guitar that spits out ignited petroleum. Like that's cool. So,
but it's literally the one that has nothing to do with Max.
Yeah, that's fine. But they also have that religious theme with what's his name, Big Joe. They think they're all Valkyrie. They're going to die if they get crashed by him or in his name. So there's all these little things that are really cool, and there's nods to the originals, of course. But it's a fine action story. Other than that, it's not special. It's nothing to write home about, I don't think. It's a bit gross here and there, but that's the future. It's fine.
All I know about Mad Max is that there was an actor from Mad Max 2 that was also in Power Rangers.
I do know ER made a video on Mad Max.
Oh, okay.
Which one of all of them? Was it Fury Road?
Yeah.
Yeah,
of course it was.
He calls Fury Road from a Mad Max scene.
Yeah, because of course it was Fury Road.
Yeah. Anyway, it's like these movies, if you don't think about them, they're just simple action flicks with a lot of good visuals. Like the way they did the setups, like obviously the directors know what they're doing. That's awesome. So once you think about it, it's like, yeah, this is kind of stupid. It's kind of silly. And if you want to analyze it, go right ahead. But they're not designed for that. Whereas you have like hard science fiction or the attempts at hard science fiction like Picard and Discovery, and it just keeps degrading itself as the stories go on. It's no longer hard. It's no longer soft. Like, is this fantasy? Is this space fantasy? Is that all this is? And it's like, yep, it's just things blowing up with magical devices called technology, and it doesn't make any sense. And that's what we have these days. I think Strange New Worlds just came out. That might be the redeeming Star Trek show. I don't know. I haven't watched it yet. But
I have not seen a single episode of Star Trek.
I have lost all hope for Star Trek at this point.
Yeah.
All I know about Star Trek is that they like to fight with Star Wars about stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the fans, not the actual IPs.
That's what I meant.
Congratulations. Well, congratulations. Now both IPs are in the same shit.
Now yeah, they are.
Wait. I just remembered something from... okay, so I was in special ed, and I was annoying my teacher by saying Star Wars is better than Star Trek, because she was a Star Trek fan, as she was talking. And she was not she was a little annoyed about that.
All right. Well, they're two different genres, so that's fair. To say what you like better. Anyway.
Yeah, it's fine.
Well, let's keep going.
Chauvinistic ass in a very satisfying and well-written way. Never felt pandering for a second. If anything...
okay.
Yeah. Replace never with always.
Like 90% of the characters are female. There's so many women in this story.
9% of the characters that do things are female.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, what the hell were you smoking when you saw Fury Road, madam?
The males that are in the story either get killed off because they're fodder, or they push, like they're chasing you, and they're not really a character. Like Big Joe is probably the only real main...
If I remember correctly, I remember there was like this one group of women who killed all men, and somehow they're portrayed as heroic.
Well, you have I think the 5 brides, then you have the women group at the end or the middle of the movie, and you have the male friend, not the male friend, he's like another Valkyrie dude, who's along with Joe, and you have Big Joe, of course, but the rest are all women. So
I doubt she lasts in the Fist of the North Star universe.
Yeah, every time I watch that, I'm like, this would be so much awesome if Kenshiro comes out of nowhere and just starts knocking down buildings.
No, Violence Jack just walks out. Just holy fuck, she'd be screwed. Yeah, sure. Pair her up against a 10-foot man.
I have never seen Fist of the North Star, but I've heard a lot about it.
Oh, God.
It's a good show. Let's just leave it at that.
It's a good show.
Holy shit, is that thing brutal.
If you want to mix Bruce Lee and
Rambo
and Mel Gibson, you get Kenshiro.
Yeah. It's hard to describe the awesomeness that is Kenshiro. It's once you watch the original movie from the 70s, I think it came out.
First half of the 80s, yeah.
Okay.
Oh my wow, Moshin Deru.
If you watch the first 10 minutes or even the first 3 minutes, you're like, what?
Yeah, well, the movie is kind of nonsensical on its own, but yeah, it is just like the pure fact that it exists.
Yeah.
And like what kind of insanity is in it.
What, North Star?
Amazing.
It's
of the North Star movie, yeah.
Yeah, the movie is like the series itself is crazy. The movie is just like nuts. And then they redid it. They redid it in the 2000s, I think.
And then you think ridiculousness of Fist of the North Star, and then you turn it into an even bigger parody of itself, and that's how you get Bobobo.
I still...
I cannot be the only one who remembers Bobobo.
You're not.
I
remember that when I was like 5, I think.
5, man.
I'm still a little bit dumbfounded about the fact that a lot of the female characters mentioned, they're not good because they're not action oriented or something like that, or what this video seems to be implying. And I'm just thinking, you don't have to be a badass to be a good character. I mean, sorry, my brain's a little bit slowing down right now.
This video sucks that much.
Yeah, it sucks.
You know what? It's not that bad compared to other ones we've seen about stuff like this.
I know.
She's making like some concessions for some shows, which is smart.
Oh, you should have saw Saber Spark's Kingdom Hearts video, the one where he got him through his parents' divorce.
God.
Holy shit! You'll see how much.
Yeah, I'm glad I wasn't on for that one.
Wait a minute. Did he also give the Pope Undertale as well in that video?
No, that was just Smurfette.
He does reveal he's a bit of a piece of shit in the video. I can tell you that for sure.
All right, let's keep going.
We should use the Smurfette principle to raise our standards and expect quality content that's more than just glorified toy commercials.
Why? How? How do we use it? It's a trope. You can't use a trope as a standard. What does that mean?
Tropes are tools that interweave with other tropes.
Yeah, but writers use them. It's not the audiences use them. They see a pattern. They go, oh, that's that pattern. Yeah. Was it done well? Did it make sense to the narrative? Then it's fine. Who cares?
I feel like this is more of a video towards people that want to go into writing, but it's still a bit arrogant that writers would actually...
No, I don't
Absolutely not.
No.
Yeah.
Can you imagine getting writing advice from this person? Like, what the...
Yeah, I know. I feel like it's a bit arrogant to assume that your advice is going to be as good. Like, that's not to say that your advice probably won't be sound at the very least.
Yeah, can you imagine writing a character where you want them to talk about another character and they're just having a normal conversation? You're like, oh, this is totally natural. And all of a sudden, you realize you just talked about a male character and the two people that are having the conversation were female. Like, oh no, I screwed up. You have to erase your chapter because it didn't pass the Bechdel test. You're like, wait, no, come on.
Screw that test. I don't care.
It's so
I liked her example with the Bechdel test. That let's see Lord of the Rings. This is a really good movie, regardless that it doesn't follow any of these points.
Got it.
Wow.
I mean, by her logic, half the movies that won't shut up about men in horrible ways technically fail the very test.
It's always do these side characters who have nothing to do with the main plot have any agency? It's like, no, they're not supposed to. They're side characters. They don't have any agency. That's the point.
Side characters are more like a side dish. They're like the fries that go with your burger.
They are one chapter at best in a book, and it's just to introduce them, and then they do their thing, and then they leave. Or they die, or whatever.
Why wasn't Tom Bombadil the main character?
I know.
Why not? He's such a likable dude.
Why is this godlike character who could solve the problem? It's like, then you wouldn't have a story.
Who's Tom Bondo or whatever?
Bondo?
Or who that character you mentioned? Why was
Tom Bombadil?
I'm Bondo. Yeah. Tom Bondo.
Sorry.
Tom.
He's a terrorist from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Okay, imagine Gandalf, but the actual Father Christmas character, like the real Father Christmas. That's what he is.
Krampus?
No. Gandalf was the the concept of Father Christmas, right? The guy, the old man, who's part of nature. Odin-like-ish character. And Tom Bombadil is the living embodiment of all that. He is the pinnacle of Father Christmas. Whereas they treat Gandalf as an idea who can't be killed, Tom Bombadil is the thing, the actual thing. So he is communicating with nature. He can control the ring if he wants. He's marries a goddess who's also fairy spirit creature or whatever. Like, he is just amazing. He is connected with life. And he has nothing to do with the plot, unfortunately. So they cut him out of the movies.
To be fair, I probably would be.
It makes sense. Yeah.
Sorry.
Getting rid of him makes
well,
sense.
I mean, on the bright side, you actually accept Krampus as the true father of Christmas.
Krampus.
Thank you. Thank you, good sir. You have culture.
Yeah. Anywho. Okay, here we go.
The landscape of entertainment from the early 90s, well, it makes sense why Katha wrote her article. She wanted...
Yeah, as a silly, weird mom on the other end of the spectrum, as opposed to one of those Catholic right-wing, all cartoons are bad. This person's like, well, where are all the cartoons for the girls? It's like, never mind.
Everybody start throwing books at her.
Oh, God.
I just got a question. Why does this person sound like like one of those moms? The woman in the video. Why does this person sound like one of those moms right now?
She'll probably never be. I mean, what?
Mike.
I like her hairline. It's very interesting for a girl. See that sort of very sharp hairline.
Doesn't clip through the glasses, unlike
at this point. If I don't see like the side cut, then I'm like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, that's good enough for me. If there's no buzz cut.
It doesn't bypass the glasses.
That should be like a new principle.
yeah, like pronouns on profile. But if the girl has a pic of her a profile pic and buzz cut on the side, it's like, yep, there we go. We know what you are. Usually now, most girls just color their hair, and you're like, yeah, okay, same idea.
It's something better for her daughter. Fortunately, things have improved since then, and hopefully that will continue to be the case. So, in conclusion, I personally believe that the Smurfette principle can...
We're done? Okay.
Well, wait, there might be some more. I do want to say that things have improved up until about 2000 and... what year was it? I think 2010 or 12.
Oh my God.
Because
2010 was like when Adventure Time was released, wasn't it?
Oh.
Well, it might be 2 years before that.
I think like that was like the dark times.
Yeah, I thought it was the 2016 election with Trump, but yeah.
Well, yes, but for cartoons, I mean.
Oh, okay. Alrighty.
Oh my god. Be an A to measure movies and shows when it comes to their representation of women. To see if there's any actual substance to their character, or if they only exist to serve male characters.
You know,
sometimes I can't tell if like she's using like that ironic tone.
Yeah, I have nothing against male or female characters being secondary or tertiary characters, assisting or hindering the main characters, male or female. I don't care. I really don't. Makes no difference.
I really, really hate how some female characters are done nowadays, though, because it makes me look at a few female character leads with, please do not be like those previous examples. Please, for the love of God. I think one of the most infamous probably has to be Steven Universe. So for me.
That's too much of a crazy.
Yeah, and Korra as well, because Korra is not a good avatar.
Korra sucks.
Yeah, she was such a bad avatar. She screwed up the avatar state and reset it to 1.
My boy Aang deserved better.
All right, so we're almost done. I guess she's just going to summarize. Let's go.
Now, is it always correct? Does every single movie or show that fails the Smurfette principle make it automatic?
You can't. It's not a principle. It's not a test. It's just a trope.
We literally got nothing to explain what makes it a principle. This whole video.
Again, like this was made up by a journalist for an article. Like, are we going to like use it as an academic measure?
Right.
Seriously?
I mean, if we look at the actual TV tropes page, there is the reverse of that, as we were talking about with Sailor Moon, called the one guy. You know, it's just, there's a guy in this story with girls in it. It's like, that's it. Yeah. So?
Tuxedo mask.
Yeah, what does he do? Not much.
He
throws a rose and leaves.
He tells you a hint and then he fucks off afterwards.
Yeah, because he's not the main character. The story's not about him. It's just, hey, Serena, stop being a dick. Get on with get on with it. Go.
Well, I think he is somewhat of a main character, considering Sailor Moon kind of falls in love with him, like goes crazy over the guy.
Oh yeah, that's kind of her obsession for the whole show. But that's when she's not fighting evil or whatever. She's she's a normal schoolgirl, failing all her tests and still passing, and just getting along with her friends and going through high school. So that's it. Story about girls, magical girls, saving the galaxy.
Radically sexist? Not at all. Context is important, and there are absolutely exceptions to the principle. It's not like every single writer has to include at least 2 girl characters in their story. Sometimes you just need one, and there's nothing malicious about that decision.
Okay, so I do want to say I appreciate her actually saying this, though I wish she would have said it earlier in the video.
Well, no, if she said that at the start of the video, she wouldn't have made the video. There's no point.
Well, yeah, but it still would have been a little bit more honest, I feel
because once you actually agree to that, once you say that to yourself, oh yeah, you know what? Some stories just need one girl. The rest of your video is bullshit. Everything you just said at this point is null and void. Guys, this principle is a good gauge, but it's not really, because some stories only need one female character, and you're like, oh. So Star Wars.
It still should be mentioned earlier in the video, just for a little bit more honesty, if you ask me.
Well, what I like about at least Sarcastic Productions is they say tropes are neutral, essentially, which is a fair assessment, even though Red, when she talks, is biased. It doesn't come across that way because she's just reading the TV tropes page pretty much, and then she gives examples, and that's the problem we had with Red. It was like, oh god, this is just a freaking info dump, and their diagrams make no sense, and they're so small and bizarre, and then all of a sudden she throws in some politics. Like, whoa, where'd that come from? And it's kind of like this girl, only now she's not following her own logic. She's like, oh, by the way, doesn't really matter. You're like, oh. So it's a pointless measurement like the Bechdel test is also a pointless measurement. It's uncanny. They can't listen to their own words and understand what they're saying. They're just reading the script and going, yeah, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Who cares?
But Star Wars technically falls under the Smurfette principle, but many people find Princess Leia to be one of the best representatives when it comes to strong female characters in fiction. Gadget from the Rescue Rangers is the only girl in the main cast, but this girl practically carries the team when it comes to getting things done. She's smart, she's resourceful, and she even has her own personal cult in Russia. That's not a joke. In that regard, context of the character and story can play a big role, and proves that the Smurfette principle isn't always an absolute. We've come a long way.
Something is not always an absolute. Thank you. Just say it's not an absolute. Okay.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes.
This one thing is not 100% when it's not 100%. Okay, yeah. Okay.
Since the Smurfette principle was first coined in the early 90s, and I think a lot of progress has been made since then.
Yeah,
now, is there still room for improvement? Absolutely. But I think it's healthy.
Improving what? If the gauge does not work, what are you trying to improve?
I'm just reminded of the one episode. There's an episode of Invader Zim where the whole mission was he's going to kill Dib with a giant doom mech. And by the end of the episode, he fails entirely. He gets destroyed. He goes, but my real mission was to get your camera, so I win. And it's like, but that's not your... Okay. That's this whole video. That's his whole video. Is just she's making shit up. You failed your goal, lady.
You may have outsmarted my smarting, but I outsmarted your outsmarting.
I intended to blow myself up.
Like the rule I'm reading into only works 60% of the time, or something. It's like, what? The examples she provided that were really quick were kind of off. Again, she says context matters. Like, yeah, the context of every single one of these shows you did not address. You just said the principle exists, but it's like, okay, then who cares?
I got a question. Would it be much worse if all these shows took out the one female character and all of them were like the Three Musketeers or whatever? Or like an all group of guys? That would be much worse, if you ask me. And yeah, we see a lot. Oh, my brain's slowing down. Hold up. What I'm trying to say is that the Smurfette principle just seems so stupid if you're going to point at like examples of like groups of 5 or 4 or 3 and say, well, there's only one female. Yeah, so what?
Like look at Gurren Lagann. That's a pretty famous or popular anime. And I think there's 2 main females in that story. And they both like the other corresponding male leads in some capacity. But the story is not about that. It just makes sense that there would be heroes and leaders, and people look up to those heroes and leaders in more than just as a leader. They see them as a person, and they like them. So it makes sense to have those relationships, even though the story is not about romance. It just has those elements. And I don't see anything wrong with that. And the story is fun. It's an adventure. It's post-apocalyptic setting, and that's what the focus is. It's this crazy mecha anime power fantasy. It's great, and it's exciting, and the music is fun, and the action is good. Why not have a hero character and people respect them and like them romantically? And it makes sense that they're the leaders of these people, and they build a better society or a future together. That might involve some family. That might involve having kids. Makes sense. So it's all based on the premise and the setting and the plot, not by virtue of having a ratio of men to women. That's silly.
To what progress when it's been made and continue supporting it. We should strive for well-written characters who are more than just lazy tropes.
Oh, so you're saying that the Smurfette principle is a lazy trope because it doesn't work. If it was not a lazy trope, it would be 100% accurate.
So by that logic, off the boat you go, lady.
Yeah,
off the boat
she's saying, again, that the Smurfette principle is crap. It's a lazy trope.
Jesus Christ, this video.
Yeah, because patterns in storytelling, they're just, oh, here's a pattern I noticed. It doesn't mean anything, and it may even be inaccurate. If it implies something, that does not apply to every single instance of that show. That show is not the same as the other show, even though it has the same pattern. And that's where you get, sub-tropes and nuances. It's like there's different people writing different stories with different genres in different media for different audiences for different reasons. Sometimes to sell toys, sometimes to tell a story. It's like, what do you want, lady? Like, do you just want more chicks in your stories, like with lightsabers? Like, what do you want? Tell us. It can't be that hard.
Boom. You got Rey Skywalker.
No, shut up. It's Palpatine, damn it. It's Palpatine.
Her last name.
It's Palpatine, damn it. I'm not calling that thing Skywalker.
What was Rey's last name?
They do some dumb shit where it's like, oh, she's the clone. Daughter of a clone of Palpatine, which I don't think that's how cloning works, but okay.
Well, I'm glad the clones were actually had healthy reproductive systems, so that makes an effective cloning technique that was so secret and so impossible that only the Sith knew it.
Only the Sith knew it. I mean, it's not like a bunch of long-necked aliens on a raining planet knew how to clone anything. Nah.
Just the Sith.
Nah.
Anyway.
We should push for companies and studios to provide representation that's more than just a checkbox on a list.
Oh, so wait a second. You're saying you want a bunch of characters that aren't just a checkbox. So you want actual believable characters. Then why even consider that for represent? What exactly are you representing then? Aside from believable characters or well-written characters for that matter. What a bizarre thing to say. We want more than our check. We want the checkbox list, and we want them to be good. And you're like, wait. If you want them to be good, who cares about the checkbox? You can't just start writing a story with a checkbox and saying, okay, now we have to flesh these characters out because we made them. That's not how good writing. You can't just throw in a list of things you want and hope for the best and say, oh, okay, because good writing requires to cut the fat, which means deleting characters, which means you can't have your checkbox and your good writing characters. It doesn't work that way. It's like saying, I want quantity and I want quality. It's like, no. You either get one or the other. You can't. And if you want quality and quality, you're going to be paying for it, like you're talking about, like a Dom Perignon or expensive wine or scotch or what have you. So no, it doesn't work in media that way, unfortunately.
Variety. Give us choices. Give us quality.
Okay, we have anime. And there you go. You're done.
Weeb shit.
Yeah, anime manga. You're done. You get every genre imaginable, and some you never even heard of, and you'll find exactly what you like. There you go. There's plenty of stories where there's way more guys than girls, and vice versa, for variety of genres.
And where we started and where we are, I think it's safe to say things have improved. And hopefully the Smurfette principle will continue to be more of the exception than the rule.
We could have that if we simply just not listen to you.
Maybe if we stop using the Smurfette principle, we wouldn't have to think about it, and we just write good stories. Like Star Wars, or like she gave the example of Star Wars where Leia's a great character. Like, you're right. So just write more stories that are well done.
Gem of the Holograms. Let's see. My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Captain Planet also had some pretty good characterization. Let's see. Who else?
Real Ghostbusters. Even what was that other JMS story? Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future? Is that what it's called, Captain Power?
And this is just restricted animation, though. I can think of a lot of games that have a cast that's pretty much equal in female and male, I guess.
Well, I brought up that one because that's another JMS show. It was in the 80s, and there was a female chick in a exoskeleton. So, I don't remember anything specific about the female being anything better or worse. Maybe the design of her armor was more feminine and was quicker and lighter. But it was basically this hellhole of men and women fighting off this army in this power armor. It was really cool. So, geez. All these awesome shows from the 80s.
The future.
It's a same.
And don't even think about bringing me back, especially if it's for one of those furry videos. Last thing I need is a tail and ears. Oh, God!
So
what is up with this?
Stupidity.
He managed to make like one good joke at the beginning of the video, and that was it.
Then he killed it.
That was the sponsor. Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, the sponsor. That was a quick joke.
So far, this guy's been beaten up 4 times with a bat.
I did not even hear what the joke was. What was the joke in that?
She was just saying, our sponsor is like, why am I doing this? Come on. It's like, we got to do it. And they just cut it. It was great. Took 5 seconds. Fantastic. None of that 30-second, 1 minute, hey, do you like shaving? Well, I have a shaver. It's like, okay, yeah, thanks.
Big shout out to this video sponsor, Warby Parker.
Yeah.
As you can see, I wear glasses both as a...
All right, yeah, we're good.
Okay, fuck this.
Wow. Dude, this is like 3 minutes of... Okay, screw these guys.
Warby Parker.
We revoked the point for that good joke.
They went from
3 minutes of 3 more minutes of advertisement.
They went from 5 seconds to 3 minutes and 5. Like, screw that.
Jesus. Oh,
this
God.
is not like one of those infomercials from a cartoon where you gotta watch through 7 minutes of freaking advertisement. I know that he likes Western animation, but he shouldn't try to emulate the commercial part of it as well.
All right.
Hey guys, I need to pay rent.
All right.
I need to pay rent. My rent owner's trying to kill me now. Please give me food.
Here is
Mr. Dickovich is at the door.
Pepe Smurf. That's very nice. My eyes burn, so yours must too.
Did I just hear Pepe Smurf?
Yeah. Call me
Is
Sally.
that is he half Smurf, half frog?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for
that. Very accurate.
Good dragon. What's this? The airbender, the firebender, the waterbender, the gender bender, and bender. Astolfo! Good job. Men, woman.
I wish I could take a look at these comments.
Why is the woman
It's in stream memes.
All right. Smurfette is cool on the left with people with really low IQ. Smurfette is cool with really high IQ. And the people in the middle of the bell curve, no, she is the only female character in the Smurfs.
Yeah, meanwhile the sky is blue.
Okay. It's interspecies
Reviewers,
yeah. What if they were girls? And then they had the episode where they had the sex change. It was great.
Yeah, an actual sex change, yeah. I've only seen the clip. I don't know anything else after that.
All right. I can change gender if I want to. Hey, I can do better. Amateurs.
Yep. I saw the Pro Jared meme.
What was that? Punk? It's amateurs. Oh, I love it.
Amateurs, Ranma. Yeah.
The original sex.
The original gender bender.
Yeah. Every time a reviewer brings up Garfield, yeah, why? I will post this, and it's odd. I had to use it twice, even when Garfield was not the main subject.
Let me tap the sign.
John 360.
John 360.
What the hell? Okay. Where's the weed, John?
Where's the weed? It's in the lasagna.
Yeah, that's a sad looking Garfield.
That's the secret.
Gay Garfield. Lasagna and cough.
Okay.
Bad.
More Garfield. I broke a lamp today. I broke 2 saucers and a vase. Awesome. We take a lot of pride in being cats. Aw.
Okay.
Isn't that nice? Remember, Smurfette was created by this Belgian. What?
Okay, so you can see the Pro Jared image in the next one.
Beautiful.
The manga adaptation, the anime, and then the Netflix.
The Netflix. Oh,
What
no.
Bro, Jared, no.
Too late. Too late. He's already done it.
Oh, my God.
And yes, that is real.
Yeah.
Fighting trolls by
Okay.
daylight, losing.
One woman in the story complains about her being a token. No woman in the story complains you're not being represented.
Which one to choose?
The one on the right? I don't know. Do I need to
Well, to
slap
be
a
fair,
bitch?
they could just have They could have more than one female, but it's still stupid. Like, it would still be stupid, I think.
They shall find your corpse in the darkest corners of the ever-free forest. Okay. I'm a guy. I was a brony. This chick has no idea the size of the can of worms she opened. It says you're gay. What? Okay.
What the fuck?
I see nothing wrong with people liking whatever. It doesn't really bother me unless it's something
No.
like...
I'm just seeing the next one. FedEx mass shooter Brandon Hull was obsessed with My Little Pony report.
Stop calling these guys mass shooters if there's nothing massive about them.
Lola Bunny redesign.
They always want to blame those kinds of nut jobs they want to blame everything else around them and not the actual person.
Yeah, just call them what they are, losers.
Yeah, it kind of loses the sex appeal a bit.
Diet losers. Just with clout.
When you can't have a woman in your story because an angry feminist can't stop comparing them to a fictional blue midget lady? Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
Lola Bunny almost runs over bugs. Okay, I'll watch that later. Mike Testa and Spark Saber in the same room together.
Who's Mike Testa?
You're looking at him. You're talking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm somewhat new here, all right?
I'll give you that.
All right. Here. Oh, what is going on? Look out.
Devil May Cry 5.
Monster
Sponsored.
drink. Sponsor.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
I have never had a Monster Energy drink.
Me
Are those
neither.
like
Yeah.
And they probably taste like shit.
I wouldn't even bother, yeah.
Replacing the swords with monster.
Saber Rider and the Star Sheriffs. Hey, cool.
Nice.
I like that show. And now we have, yeah. Awesome.
Oh, cheese. No, not the bear.
Tactical espionage action, Metal Shy
Solid 3.
Okay.
Barrier.
Sonic
Okay.
says what to do when someone touches you. That's no good.
That's
There you go. Yes. Yeah.
Sonic says.
Oh no,
What?
TV executives for programming your children's mind with messages from anthropomorphic animals.
Fun fact, most porn movies pass the Bechdel test.
What to do when someone touches... Okay, we're not going to watch that. Oh, look, it's Hawk. Hello, Virtual Hawk here. Fun fact, most porn movies pass the Bechdel test. Aw. Isn't that nice? If you know him, you had a really weird childhood. Oh, there it is. Bobabo, whatever.
Bo.
Which is not as weird as Excel Saga, but pretty close.
The pony memes, I see them.
Upgrade from Kenshiro. Jojo. Upgrade from Jojo. Upgrade. Perfect. Oh, no, it's perfect. Bobo is perfect. Okay. Kyogray's hideout again? What do we got here? Oh, yeah. There he is. Mr. Nosehair. Just thrashing everyone. Oh, no. Sorry, I'm late, guys. Wow. That is the craziest hair. What is happening? These flowers. Okay. I'd still want to watch this over any of those Netflix cartoons anyway, but
What, you don't want to watch a show about big mouths?
I can only imagine them at Netflix trying to adapt Bobobo. I'm just like, good fucking luck. Good luck.
So weird, even Netflix can't corrode.
I would like to see that, actually. I would love to see an attempt.
I don't want to see that because Netflix will find a way to fuck it over.
What do you then call the trope then when it's mostly female cast and there's only one guy in the group? And even then, he's just a side character until later seasons. The one guy, that was the alternative to the other one, to the Smurfette principle. The one guy. Can we not
be confused with? I'm not being serious when I say this, but not to be confused with that one sane guy. It's a joke.
Okay. Can we not make references for 5 minutes? I refuse.
That's pretty much how we are in another server with SpongeBob references.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I refuse.
Join Wii Party furry bait. Oh god.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here.
No, the next meme.
Furry bait. Alrighty.
That's just a Saber Spark thumbnail, I believe.
Yeah.
That's real, yeah.
And the worst part is, I actually got introduced to Saber Spark when I saw the video, Don't Feed the Parasprites or whatever, which I thought was a pretty good one. And to see him fall like this, it blows.
All right. Well, maybe we'll watch a clip of that to see where the furry thing comes from.
Where it all went.
No, don't watch it.
I'll add Smud to my
It'll destroy
Blacktron
you.
team. Enjoy the Covenant Spectre. Alrighty. Interesting. Yeah, you got the classic spaceman black body suit going. Cool stuff. No, it doesn't quite look familiar, but same color.
Why is there so many sirens today over here? Oh my gosh.
Do I hear a fifth one?
Girls with blue hair. This is yours.
Yep.
Cool. She is a punk. Wow, she looks so badass. Blue hair. Okay. Oh, boy. Yeah. And we just have someone flying a kite. Going crazy.
Let's see. Hold up.
Well, it's My Little Pony, so.
Let's see. This is what most modern Disney makes me feel like. Oh, come on. Let me find the right GIF. This is the one time the GIFs have to be slow right now. Okay, there we go.
I don't know what's going on anymore, but I think I'm going to end it at the next one. What is this from?
Which one are you at now?
Blue hair girl?
Well, I think it's blue.
The blue hair girl? Yeah, she's from Issei. That's Donna Calusia.
Oh, okay.
Outfit. Yeah, she might have an outfit that makes her look like a hooker, but she is not a hooker at all. She's a very pure girl.
All right. Anyway,
the GIF, the meme is accurate.
Yeah, this is how Disney makes me feel.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much. That was how long was that? That was 3 hours of this. I'll give it some props for her actually correcting herself or sort of saying, yeah, it's all about context. It's like, thanks. That's right. There's nuance to stories. And her then sort of diluting the principle itself, saying it's not very accurate. But then she pissed me off with the 3-minute advertisement for the great joke at the beginning, unfortunately. Oh, boy. Well, guys, that was fun. I'm going to go back to doing my Picard video, getting a drink, and I got other videos to do. I'm busy.
But I have a feeling that show's just going to kill you.
Well, that show.
Sorry about being a chatterbox.
A chatterbox?
Yeah.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, Smud.
It makes me feel sad, actually. It makes me feel really sad.
The sadness will turn into strength. Trust me. It worked for Kenshiro.
The sadness will turn to laughter.
Oh, God.
And not the laughter with it, but just laughing at how stupid it is.
Yeah, I think I need a drink. Anyway, thank you guys. That was good. Keep the suggestions coming, as always, and keep the voting going as well. And we'll talk to you real soon. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.